Hey, it's the line.
Oh, pack of cars come piling in as well.
Jump. Coming the line. Here low. Come back on him.
That was incredible.
Dude, nobody better. Nobody. Hell yeah, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another wild, wacky Wednesday night of NWP. I'm your host this week, Eric Estep. Going to get y'all through this one and only isolated NASCAR Cup Series off weekend in style. I am flanked by the one and only Danny B. Danny B talks. Is it true, the breaking news, Danny, that Nico's headed to UCLA? I saw that like an hour ago.
It seems so. Unlike the Iamaliabas, I am proud to wear my power tee without demanding $4 million to do so.
I love that. And on my other side here, to my left, my right, stage left, is the iceberg, Jarrett Lundberg. Jarrett, I don't know what's going on with your sports teams. I can't make any references, but I see you got an old school Viking shirt on. So
Randy Moss. You know what Randy used to say?
Great cash, homie.
Hell yeah.
Wow. 1 minute in, we already have new drops. And gentlemen, I think we have a fourth wheel, let's just say. Connor, EllyProductions.
Look at that NASCAR sponsor right there.
Yeah.
Big time.
Looking good, dude. How was it? You were at Bristol this past weekend. I know you had your logo on the hood of Tyler Tomasi's truck and the Xfinity car. How was your experience at Bristol, man? It's good to see you.
Well, it's good to see you guys too, and it was fantastic. It was so awesome. It was just so much different than anything I've ever experienced because I've always just been a fan. I've been in the garage area and walked around and stuff like that, but never gotten to hang with a driver. Never gotten to be like in the back of a hauler, just hanging out. Never gotten to sit on top of a pit box, and of course, never gotten to see my logo on a car. So I see why you guys do this. It's a lot of fun. It's cool.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll have to do it together at some point.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's incredible, man. No, well, the Xfinity scheme looked really cool. Love the red and black that you shared all over social media ahead of the weekend. And I didn't even know you had the truck thing going on at the same time. So like, that's awesome that you've had.
I didn't either. Until I got there and saw it on the hood, I had no idea that was happening. So
that's amazing. Well, can you let the fans in a little bit? How did that come together? Like, what's your connection to Tyler or the team? Like how did this whole deal come together? Because I mean, the three of us, we've been very fortunate. We've been able to have our logos on NASCAR cars before, but it's a lot of things have to go right for people like us to get this kind of opportunity. So I just wanted to know, like, how did this work out for you? Because that's really cool.
Well, Tyler just DM'd me one day and said, "Hey, I've got sponsorship opportunities," and I get a lot of like messages that are fake and everything. But I checked out his account. I'm like, "Damn, this guy's for real." And so he seems to stick to like smaller sponsors that you wouldn't normally go after, but like can still make a big difference. And I also thought it was just really cool because in this day and age of discourse about how NASCAR is straying too far from how it used to be. Here's a guy who's literally going out and I never spoke to an ad representative or anything. He doesn't have like some secretary. It was every conversation was with him. Everything was organized directly with him. And when I was at the track, I was hanging out with him. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a really cool experience, and we were able to strike up a deal. And at first, it was just going to be on the like B pillar at the Nashville race, the Truck Series race. But then after he made the sponsorship announcement, everybody in the comments was like, "Oh, Lionel, we're gonna need a die cast. And I can't wait to see the Ellie Productions car." And both of us, I think, were like, "I guess we better do this for realsies." So.
Wow. Well, for realsies indeed. That's super cool, man. It's great to have you with us tonight to talk a little Bristol. Of course, we'll talk Rockingham. It's not completely an off week for NASCAR, just for the Cup Series, but the Rock is back. We'll talk about that in the second half of the show. We will also get to your super chats a little bit later in the show. Really appreciate all of your very generous, supportive comments so far before the show even began. It's great to see everyone. But gentlemen, let's talk Bristol. Let's talk what happened on the racetrack. We'll go in reverse chronological order. We'll start with the NASCAR Cup Series race, the Food City 500. Kyle Larson dominated this race, led over 400 of the 500 laps. No one knew coming into this weekend exactly what version of Spring Bristol we were going to see. Was it going to be the high tire wear race of last season, or was it going to look more like the fall race where tires didn't wear so much and we saw one driver dominate? It turns out it was a lot more like the fall race. We'll start with you on this one, Jarrett. What did you make of Larson dominating? we'll start with his performance before we get into the actual race itself. Like, what kind of statement does this send heading into the break?
It's Kyle Larson. There's not much more to say. I mean, it's Kyle Larson. He's going to dominate a few races every year. For every time that Kyle Larson has one of these races, like a Darlington, where he crashes out early, or he spins himself out, or he does something that's you're wondering how someone could do something that dumb. He's also going to turn around and be that damn good. It's just, it's the ebb and flow that you have with him. And, we can talk a lot about the stuff that we didn't like in this race and all that, but that was a good old fashioned normal NASCAR ass whooping in just about every way. Pretty much once he knew that he could go full bore, it was pretty much over. It was kind of, I mean, people were comparing it. They're like, it was kind of like a Formula One race a little bit, like once the guy got out there in the early part of the race, it was like, as long as something doesn't happen to him, he's good.
Yeah, I kind of held my breath when he was like the first driver to like go hard more or less and say, hey, let's test these tires, because we saw what happened at Darlington just a week ago. We crashed on lap 4. I'm like, oh boy, all right, everyone hold on here. But Danny, it ended up looking a lot like the fall race at Bristol. Kyle Larson just dominating. Once again, we saw Hendrick and JGR really command most of the top 5 all afternoon. What did you make of Larson's performance, Danny?
Yeah, it was pretty much exactly what we saw in the fall last year. Of course, I was a little excited to see Alex Bowman get the pole to start off the race. Had high hopes for him. His race did not go well. Unfortunately, they're giving him a strong engine, not
Durable.
Not durable. I bet Larson must be hoping that Bowman goes into his Ryan Newman phase, because every race he's got the pole award, Kyle Larson's won somehow, though.
That's true. I guess that's true. Yeah, that's an interesting stat. We'll get to the super chats in a moment, but TVP just said, if you're ready for WrestleMania weekend, let me hear you say yeet. And there's a lot of yeets in the chat. Danny, as our resident
Yeet.
WWE fan, I figured you would enjoy and appreciate that. We have one person here on the panel who was at the race. Connor, what did you make of Kyle Larson's dominant performance in the stands? Was it any more entertaining in person than it looked to all of us watching at home?
No. Kyle Larson, he made a stinker of the Xfinity race and he made a stinker of the Cup race, which you got to hit. I mean, it's always impressive when you can do that. But I think I sat in like 11 different places, or I actually took a screenshot. I got so bored about halfway through, I started watching the Nuggets game. But I think that's just a testament to, I can imagine that's how a lot of like non-true X fans felt when he was dominating in like 2017. So I think that's just a testament. They, like they say, they hate a winner. You hate to see a winner, and Kyle Larson is the definition of that.
Yeah, I've said before, he's kind of boom or bust. Like when he dominates races, like I think Jarrett said, he dominates races. He'll do this a couple of times this year at least, but he also busts sometimes, like we saw at Darlington wrecking on lap 4. He'll make mistakes. So, yeah, Kyle Larson dominates the race. But behind him, I think what a lot of fans were upset with, or at least were disappointed by, were the lack of competitive battles. Again, we talked about the tire. It wore in practice on Saturday, colder temperatures, cloudy day. Tires were cording after 40, 50 laps. Teams panicked, thought we were going to see a repeat of last spring. Turned out not to be the case. Seems to me like temperature is the difference. There's a fine line at Bristol specifically where the tires will wear dramatically and won't wear. There's no in between. It's like a light switch there at around like 55 degrees Fahrenheit, it seems. Guys, I mean, I guess I'll go back to you on this one first, Jarrett. Do we have more of a tire, track, or next-gen car problem when it comes to Bristol? Because at this point, it certainly seems like the race last spring was an outlier. We have not gotten consistently good Cup races here.
I mean, it boils down to the car. I think the car is the root issue. I mean, Bristol, I am still a firm believer of pre-2007, I believe, was the reconfiguration Bristol. Like that to me is like the true Bristol that I love. But I also have been on the record, and you've seen it multiple times on my channel, of like, I do really like this Bristol. Since 2012, especially, this Bristol has produced more bangers than not. It has its snoozers every now and then, maybe a little more than it did before, but it's still been generally a pretty good track through the Gen 6 era. And we all know that high-speed tracks with dirty air, even the shorter ones, Gen 6 car races were not exactly barn burners every week. So to me, it is the car. It is the car. I can't say it anymore. Goodyear has went above and beyond so many times, and they probably can do more different things, but they have arthritis now because of how much they've had to carry this goddamn car. I'm sick of hearing about, like, we need to push it to Goodyear. It's like that one that one character in every show that just like sits on the couch and blames everybody else for their problems. Like, that's what it feels like NASCAR is now. They're like that bum member of the family that's just going to stay on your couch, blame everyone else for their problems. And they're like, I don't really feel like getting up and fixing it. Goodyear, can you do it for me instead?
Yeah,
I'm so done. I'm so done with this conversation. We're 4 years in.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess we're in year 4. That's true. I definitely NASCAR has definitely asked a lot of Goodyear over the past couple of years, especially. And to Goodyear's credit, they have bailed the next gen car out in select races. The option tire at Richmond last fall made that a more enjoyable race. Martinsville last fall was a better race. I thought bringing the option tire to Phoenix, that was the kind of track in the spring, at least, where it made sense and made the race a lot more enjoyable. Goodyear, I don't want to say they've done all they can do, but they've done an awful lot. So I'm with you, Jarrett, that it's at a certain point, NASCAR needs to bite the bullet or figure out how they can adjust on this car. I just think the unfortunate reality is that we're not going to be able to dramatically change the car without a complete overhaul. Like what Denny Hamlin said a year or two ago, we need a next gen 2.0. Like this, the wheels are too wide. There's too much grip. There's too much rubber actually hitting the asphalt. The cars are too easy to drive. I don't think you can just create a different size wheel and stitch it onto this car and expect it to work. That's not feasible. You will need to redesign whole elements of the car, and that's extremely time consuming and unfortunately extremely expensive. So I don't know when the next generation of car will come. I guess historically they've gone 7, 8, 9 years between generations. So I mean, maybe we're almost halfway through. Can we survive? That's the question. Can short track survive 3 more years of this kind of racing? What do you say to that, Connor? I mean, you were there in person. What was the attitude? What was the atmosphere like leaving the facility?
A lot of people left a little early. I'm not going to lie. The stands are pretty empty. What was scariest was the first 100 laps or so, where it was single freaking file. It was a train race. And there was a point where I tried to get footage of it. I think I was just a little late, where it was every single car in a line. And it wasn't like they were sprawled out. It was one big line and a giant empty space on the racetrack. It was kind of scary. I'm not going to lie. But I think it was a similar sentiment from watching at home to at the track. I even texted my dad and I said, is this as boring as it looks on TV? And yeah. And I agree with Jarrett that it is totally a car problem. The biggest striking difference, this is the first time I've been to a truck, Xfinity, and Cup race all in one weekend. And the biggest striking difference between the cars, those Cup cars are short, man. They are so low to the ground.
They're wide. They're built like
they're squatters.
GT3 sports car.
Exactly. Yeah. And they're just going to cut better through the air, which is better for aerodynamics, but not for a lot else, not for beating, banging, short track racing. So
how was because I couldn't really tell watching from TV, how did the crowd attendance look there this weekend?
It was a little better than I expected. It's still pretty jarring to have this ginormous 160,000 person stadium and only fill about, I'd say a little around half of this. Well, no, that'd be generous. I was able to climb around up. There was a point where I might get in trouble for saying this. I was so bored. I went back to the staircase at the top of the grandstands and climbed them and was just with the camera crew on the roof. Nobody stopped me. I took a selfie, and while nobody yelled at me, they did put up a trash can to make sure nobody else would go up there. So,
real funny story. That's a common thing at NASCAR tracks. So in 2014, 15, right around when Chicagoland opened up the Chase back in the day, my grandpa and I were in our RV next to the gate that leads you to pit road out of the infield. And at Chicagoland, that gate is wide open, not only to pit road, but the exit of turn 4. And we're like, yeah, what the hell? Let's go out there. We walked out onto the track, onto the front stretch, and just wandered around the tri-oval for a little bit. Found a chunk of asphalt that fallen out. So I took it. I have that somewhere in a box because I'm packing right now. And it's just
Is Connor about to show us that he stole an FS1
I
camera?
got my chunk right here.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's very concerning how much of NASCAR racetracks you can actually get away with going to.
Not that
like,
we
without-
endorse. We do not condone
we don't
waltzing into restricted
Don't
areas.
trespass.
we don't endorse it as long as let's see, as long as
If they
as
tell
you're
you to
not
leave,
knowing-
leave. But
Yes.
until then,
I was about to say my mantra is until somebody yells at me, I'm good.
Yes.
I think the only thing that I have took on a racetrack was some confetti from Victor Lane. That was it. Other than that, I've never done that. I have took a piece of coal that fell off a train one time though, so that was pretty cool.
I'm looking at the remains of the Rockford Speedway on my floor right now.
I feel
I
left
have
out. I need a rock. I need a piece of a track.
I found a rock.
Well, if they really tear up Texas, you can go down there and get a piece of that.
There you go.
Yep.
Where's all of Auto Club Speedway? What to do with that?
Oh,
The
man,
reason
that's
I
to think about.
the reason I was asking you about the crowd attendance, because guys, whether it's in the playoffs or not, I have a horrible feeling that this year's fall race could be the worst looking attendance that we've probably ever seen. At least, especially for the Tennessee locals. You see what's on my head. The same weekend as the night race, guys, Tennessee hosts their first SEC game of the year at Neyland Stadium against Georgia. Very hated rival, and you better believe that most people in Tennessee are going to be flocking to Neyland Stadium over Bristol Motor Speedway that weekend.
I was trying to see when Bristol falls on the schedule. Yeah, it is still in the playoffs. It's the first round cutoff race.
Well,
And with just two back-to-back snoozers and everything else, I'm not expecting a huge crowd this year for the fall race.
no, and why should they? Like I have said on this show, like that I don't want to go back to Martinsville until this is fixed. I don't want to see my favorite track bastardized over and over again like this, because that's what it is. What like what people who are fans of Bristol are really experiencing right now, like to me, and this is a larger swath of fans, the short track side than Martinsville. This is what we Martinsville fans have felt since the beginning, like since 2022, because like the Bristol ones haven't been great by any means, but like they've been, the first couple have been like, at least, you're like, okay, like I can get through it. It's a bit of a slog, but it's not as horrible as Martinsville. Like now it is. Now it's just getting worse. And, I kind of started my video earlier this week, a little hyperbolic, but at the same time, not something that's unrealistic either. Or I'm like, kind of imagine this future, right? NASCAR schedule is released. Bristol has one date. Martinsville has a 400 lap race, and that's it. Richmond's been demoted because nobody goes to it, and they can move it to a different street course, bigger track, international date, you name it. The fairgrounds deal isn't moving forward in any way, and Iowa is hinging on whether or not to stay, to be an Xfinity date or Xfinity Cup. And that's not unrealistic when you look back at the past at tracks that don't bring viewers in, like especially in a large swath of viewers, have poor racing and poor attendance. What happens to them? Darlington lost a race. The Rockingham, I get it, weird circumstances, lost a race. North Wilkesboro off the schedule for 20 years. Martinsville was actually about to lose a date in 2005 too, as well. People forget that was a thing. Like, that's not unrealistic, because short track racing's saving grace was that it was great at bringing in diehards and it advanced storylines with good racing, beating and banging and stuff like that. You take the two best aspects out. What are these races now? Boring as hell races that people want to skip, and races that don't bring anyone in, because the lowest watch races every year on their scheduled times are short tracks: Richmond, Bristol, Martinsville, every year.
Something that we love to bring up on this show. What reason does SMI and the city of Nashville have to really push for National Fairgrounds Speedway when the racing with this car is not going to produce results that NASCAR fans want to see? Because we already know it would probably be just as bad right now.
Yeah, it wouldn't be great. That's a great point that you bring up, though, Jarrett, is that the only thing short tracks had going for them is that they are gritty, grassroots, stock car racing events that appeal to the diehards. And I think the diehards, this is something Denny Hamlin said on his podcast this week, are becoming wise to the idea, to the illusion of close racing as opposed to actually good competitive racing where guys have a chance to pass. And you're right. If they don't get this sorted out consistently at the short tracks, then who knows? Richmond's been dropped to one date now, and I think Martinsville, you're right, could be next one day. All these tracks, they have contracts with SMI and Bristol, like that. Maybe it's a couple of years down the line. We don't know. We don't know exactly if it's year to year how dire the situation truly is, but it isn't in a good place right now. We asked earlier, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, because I think
I was changing the subject slightly, but I was just gonna say, I will say this. The tire, it's frustrating that Goodyear has a tire that's this temperamental. I will say that, we shouldn't expect Goodyear to bail out the next gen car every week. They also shouldn't bring a tire that lasts 200 laps at Bristol. That's how can we not strike a balance there? Yeah. So I will throw Goodyear some shade on that. And I will throw some shade towards Bristol. When it's good in the Gen 6 era, it's phenomenal, but it's had some stinkers. It's a temperamental track itself. A lot of folks have brought up that it's a concrete track, and Dover, Nashville Super Speedway are also concrete tracks, can also be temperamental in the past. I don't know if there's any real momentum towards paving Bristol and returning it to traditional asphalt surface, but maybe there's something to obviously the progressive banking and what they've done there, the reprofiling in the past 20 years, but even the surface itself, can they change that so that the track is less temperamental? Because we were there, at least some of us were there in 2020 for when they announced an all-star race at Bristol. I'm like, I got to see that. I showed up. It sucked. It was similar. It was basically the same race we just watched with a completely different car, completely different tire. So that's why I say the track itself is not entirely blameless either. It's a very weird temperamental track, especially post reconfiguration. It's got some real high highs, got some real low lows. So I just think everyone needs to meet in the middle somehow, some way. And I think there are more realistic options than others.
Now, I will admit, I did not hear this, but I had a few people that had tagged me about something that, I guess Dave Moody had mentioned. There's the possibility of Bristol being reconfigured. I'm assuming they would probably do it back, but
3-mile super speedway at Bristol. Yep.
I was about to say, what's that rumor that they're going to Atlanta, another racetrack? What if it's Bristol? 40-degree banking,
90-degree banking,
40-degree banking into straightaway, 90 degrees in the turns.
But I kind of
how about if it rains again, we're done.
If it rains, then put fish in there, and I'm going fishing in it.
If it rains, we ball.
Genius Bass Pro Shops is rubbing their hands together.
Oh, it's all been a conspiracy this whole time. We should have seen it coming.
Well, so I just on the track front, and I do want to bring something up about the car in a moment, and actually just about the direction NASCAR's gone in general in a moment. But the track side. We've had the reconfiguration in 2007. They ground down the top in 2012. They put PJ1 on it in the middle of the 2010s. We put dirt on it for 3 years, which, listen, I know a lot of people didn't like it. I actually liked it. And I was one of the few people from the beginning, like the first race on, where I'm like, it's not that bad. We might need to fix Bristol, but hey, if we can do this, let's do it. But so I think I counted 4 or 5 different try to fix Bristol moments that we've had before the car.
For the context this weekend, it's also important to remember that Friday it rained the entire freaking day, and even rained a little bit on the Xfinity day too, which I'm sure they had time to prepare the track between then and the Cup race, because the Cup race, it was a gorgeous day. But that still washes away a lot of that PJ1, a lot of that rubber buildup that a lot of other tracks would have otherwise had. That was gone.
That rain also really cooled down the temperatures a lot. I think a lot of people got a false hope even that we would see what we saw last spring because of the way practice was, and ultimately I think that pretty much proved that it was temperature because of what we saw last year and on Saturday.
I think it was Jordan Bianchi was saying 15 degrees was the difference, but when I looked, because I was keeping track of this stuff, because I'm sometimes I just get a little hyper analytical on some of these things. It wasn't even 15 degrees. It was 8-degree difference. 8 degrees is difference. And the other part that I was thinking of, and I saw some people in my comments talking about this, was in 2008, we would call a race like that where the tires are shredding 10% of the way into the race. We'd call that awful, the 2008 Brickyard 400. Now Bristol is so bad and short tracks are so bad. We are practically begging for a 2008 Brickyard over that. No, I don't think
I went to both
bad.
of them and they both sucked.
Well, and I'll say I don't think last year's was a 2008 Brickyard, because they were able to actually
they were still able to race.
I gave it 100 on the groovy gauge. I loved it.
Yeah, and I think
stage 1 was a little insane, but they figured it out after stage 1.
And my point is, I think it was a little hyperbole that people were doing with that, but it's kind of funny looking at the contrast. Like if you'd put a picture of practice up and you'd asked a NASCAR fan in 2008, like what track and what race is this? Don't look at the background, just look at the tire. They'd be like, oh, that was that awful Brickyard race we had. It's like, no, this is Bristol in 20 years. It's frustrating, because it's like we've been doing the same damn thing. But I wanted to read something. Speaking of doing the same damn thing, I want to read a quote from an article from a driver really quick. And I'm not going to tell you who said it, but I'm going to read it here. It was like going back 15 years in time or something like that. You could pass actually in the corners. You could get one guy on the bottom, one guy on the top. The air wasn't so turbulent that you couldn't just get out to the outside of people. Now you can. So the track got really wide. It's like it aged 10 years. It was awesome. Everybody got out with a smile on their face. You actually wouldn't feel guilty cashing in your paycheck on Friday anymore because you actually had to drive the cars like you used to. Who do you think said that?
When was this quote?
I'm not even going to tell you. Just last 10 years or so. Who do you think said that?
Tony Stewart.
Nah. Any other guesses for?
I need more context. Danny?
Matt Kenseth?
Yes. Matt Kenseth, 2014 at Michigan.
Connor is so damn good at predicting random drivers. He's so
Which,
good
by the way,
this.
Eric broke your record, I should let you know.
Oh, no.
I got it super
what?
lucky a few weeks ago.
Who? It was John Hunter Nemechek, right?
Yeah, you got John Hunter Nemechek.
I got it in like two guesses or whatever it was, or two clues.
All right.
So you got competition. But so my point, going back to it, that was Matt Kenseth talking about Michigan and dirty air and being able to pass and then sliding around because they had the 950 horsepower, less downforce on the cars. Because even back then, people were complaining. They forget about the 2014 package. And NASCAR decided to go in the direction of the one they hated the most, and they have kept moving that direction ever since. Yeah. We've done everything else. Can we add some horsepower already? Like, we don't need to do 900 right off the bat. Maybe it won't work, but can we at least try it? Like, at least 750, at least like 800, somewhere in there. Like, it is the fourth OEM somewhere in the room with us right now.
Yeah, I mean, I did a whole video earlier today where I talked about how NASCAR's pursuit of parity may ultimately be their downfall. Like it's.
I got a good one on that.
I mean, going back 10 years ago, the moment they started cutting horsepower, I think part of the reason they say it was, to attract, part of it is to attract a fourth OEM. There's probably some truth to that, but I think there's also truth to the theory that it creates closer racing. And that's what they want. They want more cars in the shot at all times. They want it to look, at the very least, like multiple guys have a chance to pass. I mean, everything from the spec car to the elimination style, one race, winner take all format. We've never seen a back-to-back champion since this format was introduced. They basically were scared, or spooked, I should say, by what Jimmy Johnson did, winning 5 straight titles. They saw the ratings go down with the recession. They saw sponsorship go down, attendance go down. That scared them. And ever since 2011, let's say, really since 2014, 2015, every decision they seem to have made, every competition level decision they seem to have made, including stage cautions, for example, seems to be aimed at making the racing closer and the points, the championship fight, closer. But oftentimes that's come at the expense of letting superstar drivers show their superstar skills. So now you have a car that's so equal, a tire that doesn't consistently wear, and drivers who all study the exact same data. And now you have 40 guys going roughly the same speed, and you have less passing than ever. You have one team hits on it, you can't get past them in clean air. That's what we've seen the last 3 weeks. I mean, we've really seen Denny Hamlin at Martinsville, Byron at Darlington, Larson at Bristol, basically 3 straight dominant performances. We have not seen that in the next gen era, but it's starting to happen because I think this never-ending pursuit of parity is actually hurting the on-track product more than NASCAR probably ever considered. I don't know what you feel about that. Jerry, you said you acted like you had something you wanted to add.
Well, it reminds me of a conversation I had with Jeff Gluck in 2022, where he was, I think there might have been a few of us there. It was at Gateway, and we were talking about the next gen and the parity and all that. And remember, I mean, 2022, a lot of that season was a banger. Like, it was a lot of fun. Like, let's not act like the next gen era hasn't had a lot of fun moments either, but it's just kind of progressively gotten more and more tame, in I guess is a nice way of putting it. But he had said, he's like, I hate the direction we're going right now. He's like, because we're just going to get to the point where nobody can pass each other because they're all the same, and we're not going to celebrate greatness. And one of the things he had said, and it's always stuck out in my mind, is that he said NASCAR is the only sport that I can think of that on every single level punishes you for being good. It takes your lead away when you head into the playoffs. It takes your lead away now every 3 races in it. You have none of your season really matters points wise in the last races. The stages brings everyone closer together. So if you have a big lead, he's like, you get taken out. He's like, how many races do you think? And he brought up like Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex. How many of those races would they have lapped up to like 3rd if they just let them stay green and earn the points that way? And somebody else had to find a different way to beat them that wasn't as fast. Instead, they get caught up, and there's races you see those guys lead and they get wrecked out because, well, the stage caution brought all of the guys who shouldn't be there closer to them. And everything he pretty much said in that conversation 3 years ago is like, it's coming to fruition right now. And it's because he was saying, he's like, NASCAR needs to be the opposite of Formula One, and trying to get everything is, like in the sense of like, trying to let everything be, no holds bar like Formula One. NASCAR needs it to always be closer together. They need to always be parity and everything like that. And in some ways, we just need to let racing be racing instead of trying to control it. Like, stop being gods over the racing is more or less what he was saying. And he's not wrong. I think, but we went too far down. Have we went too far down this road? I guess I shouldn't say we have. Is there no turning back at this point?
I don't know about that, but you talking about NASCAR trying to stray from Formula One reminded me one of the most striking things about going to Bristol this weekend with all the haulers lined up next to each other. There is a lot of teams that just have the same hauler design, which was there was even a McLaren hauler in the garage. Like, there was a McLaren hauler there, and I was like, oh God, what are we doing?
That's interesting.
Total sidebar, but that was just,
I think, they work on like some of the technical, don't they do like the digital dash for the Cup cars? I think there's like some of their technology,
something like that. Yeah.
No, to your point though, Jarrett, it's, I don't think there's no turning back. I do think this spec car and how that's transformed the industry, the economy, if you will, I think that's going to be difficult to go back from. But there are other, you can widen the box drivers and teams can play in other ways, by adding horsepower, or by maybe one day evolving to where the tires are less grippy, and it's a little, drivers who know how to save tires. That was something I thought was really interesting. If you compared this race to last year's spring race, it was the veterans who know how to save tires who finished 1, 2, 3. It was Hamlin, it was Truex, it was Keselowski. Compare that to this year, where it was no tire saving, just go, go, go. And it was aggressive guys like Larson, Ty Gibbs, Carson Hocevar that were up in the top 5. All that. I just thought it was really interesting how you saw 2 very different, distinctive driving styles kind of shine through. But it's going to be an age-old debate. We could do a whole 2-hour show debating the classic. Is NASCAR more about pure competition or about entertainment? How do they balance those things? Because what you said, the idea of if NASCAR took their hands off completely, you would have seen Kyle Busch lap the field in some of those races back in the day. When Harvick had it going in 2020, he probably would have lapped the field here and there. If they just took their hands off, you would get those kinds of races. And the ugly truth is, will fans watch? There is at some point, do they have to step in? Would fans accept a race like that? I don't know. I think we might be past the point in that respect.
Well, and then we started the show in 2018, and the first half of that season was rough.
It was a lot of dominant driver. It was Truex, it was Harvick, it was Busch dominating. The intermediates were hard to watch.
Harvick, dude.
So it's like I can't even be upset entirely with NASCAR for wanting to chase this closer racing, because when the racing wasn't close, us and probably everybody else watching this complained when it was 1 or 2 guys dominating. So it's like, that's why I bring this all back. And I asked the chat, what was the biggest issue at Bristol? The tires, the car, or the track itself? I think it's a mix of everything. I think somehow, some way, we need to find that blend in the middle to make the racing more competitive, but also give the best drivers a chance to prove that they're the best drivers, the best teams a chance to prove they're the best teams. If we see some dominant performances from time to time, that's fine, as long as when everyone goes home that day, you really feel like they earned it, and you really feel like at least the racing behind them was quality. You feel like that was the thing. Like Larson had the best car, it seemed, led that whole race, had clean air. But I think I think it was an Auto Racing Analytics posted that graphic showing like all of the leaders were like right on, like basically everyone was running the same lap times the final stretch of that race. That tells me that if you had put anyone in the top 10 out front with 80 laps to go, they would have won that race. Like if you put if somehow in that final green flag pit stop sequence, Larson cycled to third and I don't know, Ty Gibbs cycled to first, Ty Gibbs wins that race 100 times out of 100. And that's what we need to avoid. Like you need to feel like the guys who won the race and dominated the race were truly the best that day. And like we talked about at Darlington, William Byron dominated that race, didn't win, but I think we all agreed Ryan Blaney was better. He just never had the track position. Yeah, because it's hard to overcome dirty air in this car at Darlington. So
hearing you say Ty Gibbs, that just made me think. I've been saying all year, I've been waiting for the Bristol spring race to really get an idea of who Ty Gibbs is, and he did get third place. So hopefully that's the start of more good finishes for him. He's desperately needed that for a long time now.
Great segue, Danny, because I think we can start to move off of the racing itself and actually talk about a few more of the notable finishers. I did poll the chat. 78% of them said the biggest issue at Bristol was the car. So definitely runaway favorite there. Although I got a lot of comments saying, Eric, you needed to put an all of the above option. And yeah, that's probably the one I would have selected. But yes, Danny, Ty Gibbs with his first top 5 finish of the season. I mentioned it earlier, but Joe Gibbs Racing and Hendrick Motorsports were all over the front of this pack. I think we had 3 Gibbs cars finish in the top 5. Hamlin was second. Chase Briscoe was 4th. Christopher Bell was 8th. Connor, I know you used to be Martin Truex Jr. fan. I don't know if you're still a big Joe Gibbs Racing fan or anything, or if you were watching them particularly close, but what kind of statement does this send that they were not far off from where Kyle Larson was all day?
Big statement, especially having all those cars all together. Where did Bell finish again? I forget.
8th.
Yeah, so they were all top 10. They were all pretty much in the mix. Huge statement, and especially for Ty Gibbs. I really thought coming into this year he was going to come out of the gate swinging with how last year ended. I had Denny Hamlin missing the playoffs and Ty Gibbs being in, and now I feel like the biggest dunce on the planet.
Hey,
but
that's brave of you to admit that publicly in front of the world.
I'm so sorry, Hamlin fans. You get my full. You can trash me as much as you want, but hopefully it's a sign of things to come. I really think at this rate, I really feel like Ty Gibbs is going to get his first win very soon, but probably at a super speedway. He just needs to put together more consistent performances like this one, and obviously the team has to be there. But absolutely a statement weekend for JGR.
Convenient for him. What do we go to in a couple weeks?
Dega,
baby.
No, Ty Gibbs has turned the corner, though. I mean, he overcame a late race wreck to finish 13th at Martinsville and now has a 9th and a 3rd the last 2 weeks. And remember, they hired Cheddar Smith, who formerly with Harvick and Stuart Haas, most recently with Spire. I mean, that's a veteran championship. I don't know if he's technically an engineer. He's the car chief. I guess he has probably some sort of engineering background. Experienced guy, young team with Ty Gibbs and a rookie crew chief needs experience. So is it a coincidence that they hire him and immediately go out and get a couple of top 10s? Maybe, maybe not. But to your point, Connor, I do feel like all of a sudden Ty Gibbs is live and could pop up and win any of these coming races.
How would the great Michael Marutz probably phrase it? Grandpa, am I good now?
Well, and this is a perfect time for an off week for him too. I mean, you got
for real.
Catch your breath.
Yeah. You're good. You're getting a little momentum. Get that confidence. Build on it over those that week off. And I think for him especially. I mean, a couple weeks ago we were talking. I think it was like 34th in points. Now he's 20th.
Yeah.
Because that's how close that scrum has been for the most part this season. And I think Denny Hamlin had said too, because of how much you've seen these guys figure out the car, you're probably not going to have a ton of extra winners like you would you're not going to have like 14, 15. It might be something like 11 or 12. So points racing would actually matter a bit more. He's not, I think, was he minus 20? He's not too far back, all things considered, especially with Talladega coming up. Now he could get caught in a wreck. It's Talladega. We all know that. But, quarter of the way into the season, it's not as dire as it looked only 3 weeks ago, I think it was.
Yeah, they have like 3 weeks ago, I was already ready to say you can't point your way in from where he was at. Also, because I think I figured probably wrongfully that the cut line would move up dramatically, but now I mean we've seen Gibbs and Hendrick dominate in the win column so far this year. We may only see 10 or 12 different winners, and so yeah, like you guys can see the points scrolling on the bottom of the screen. Guys like AJ Allmendinger, I believe, are only like a couple points out of a
And
playoff spot for the time being. Like
and
it's
he
interesting.
he got ninth place this weekend, man. He did good there. He did good at what Martinsville and Homestead, I think, was also
Yeah.
tracks he's good at. He's gotten top tens at tracks where historically he's had good runs. So if he can keep capitalizing on that.
Yeah,
Honestly.
fun fact about AJ, he's got 3 top 10s already this year. Coda was not one of them. So, I mean,
Well, and speaking of some people that had good runs, Carson Hocevar should have probably finished third or fourth in this race.
yeah,
Man,
pit crew let him down.
he might have had a shot to contend for the win. In all honesty, like he was
Oh, he
setting
was going to be in the mix.
he
No
was
doubt.
hitting consistently good, solid lap times. But whatever the equivalent of Bowman's motor is to Hendrick motors, well, Carson basically got that in Hendrick pit crews or something. It was
6 string.
It's just almost every race this season, I can go back and like we had him on the show last week, and he said like the same thing of like, well, if we didn't have this motor issue here, or and so didn't cause a crash as we're on pit road here, and I went back and he could easily have gotten an extra 30, 40 points. He's, I think, 25th at the moment, which with how horrible his season is, 25th in points is actually, I think, somewhat of an accomplishment. I'll be able to tell on the bottom of the screen now. Yeah, he's minus 43. He could have easily made a bunch of those 43 up in the last race for that, Homestead, you name it. So
Phoenix, I think it was a pit crew mistake that put him deeper in the field when he got caught up in that crash.
Yep.
Yeah.
Timothy Wolf said, "NWP curse, LOL." I actually told these guys we are actually historically known that we haven't had a driver on in so long, but usually when a driver comes on, they usually have like an NWP blessing. And I told these guys, "Are we on track for another one? He's looking really good."
Well,
he still finished 11th.
That's what I was going to say.
He did still finish 11th, so that shows how fast his car truly was.
That's his second best finish of the season. I mean, that's like he's had top 10, top 15 speed most weeks, but only the one he had that second at Atlanta, and that's really been his only great finish to this point. I also want to shout out his teammate Justin Haley, who qualified well and also spent some time in the top 5. Haley and Hocevar earned 13 stage points each this weekend. So, I mean, that's noteworthy for a couple of Spire cars outside the top 20 in points at a place like Bristol, especially. Well, we've shouted out a lot of drivers. We talked about TV numbers in or earlier, so I figured now we could spend a moment talking about the television ratings across all motorsports. It was a busy sports television weekend, obviously with the Masters. Rory McIlroy, shout out to Rory winning his first Masters in however long. I grew up every day before school. I would watch the previous night's midnight Sports Center, and so I grew up every day before school hearing about this new Rory McIlroy kid who's going to challenge Tiger Woods at the end of his part. I'm not a big golf guy, but even I feel like I've followed Rory McIlroy's journey for years and years and years. So that was really cool. Naturally siphoned a lot of sports viewership away from racing. The final day of the NBA regular season. Good luck to your Nuggets, Connor. As you can see, I am clearly rooting for the other side of the Western Conference bracket. We'll see what happens. Hey, come on. We've had like 3 or 4 terrible years. Give us this. The rebuild. It's been all right. Okay. I don't blame you for being greedy.
Go Bolts, yeah.
Let's talk racing numbers here. The Cup race at Bristol, 2.054 million viewers. Can't really compare this to last year's race because that was on Big Fox. Obviously drew a much bigger number. Xfinity, for the 9th consecutive race, hit the 1 million viewer mark, just barely. 1.001 million viewers tuned in on the CW. We'll talk more about that race in a moment. Trucks pulled in nearly 500,000 viewers. Was in the range of IndyCar, who had their race at Long Beach, which was on Big Fox. So all things considered, relatively speaking, a decent number for the trucks Friday night. I'm I was getting a little frustrated with Fox's coverage Sunday. I will say that. I don't want to spend too much time on this because I feel like we rail on the same points every week, and it's clear at this point Artie Kempner is not watching, or whoever his success. Well, maybe his successor is watching, and maybe one of these days we can make a difference. But I just get so frustrated by the lack of information. Like they get little details right. Like they've added, a little fast lap decal on the side to let you know who gets that extra bonus point, but then they'll cut away from pit stops to go to commercial, come back from commercial, and show us that all this crazy shit happened they'll show us the replay of tires going everywhere, guys falling off the jack. I'm like, oh, would have been great to have seen that live as opposed to having to get fed it after the fact when I was instead having to watch another Brestry commercial. So just little things like that. It's a lack of attention to detail that bothers me with Fox these days.
At least, you know what? At least we all learned what Peyronie's disease is.
Oh, how could you not know what Peroni's did? I didn't know what that was 2 years ago. Now I see it in my nightmares.
I'm telling you, if you want to know the clientele of a sport, just watch their commercials and you'll know exactly who's watching.
We are basically medical professionals now.
Hey, you know what? Great. I'll know. Like if I get Peyronie's disease in 30 years, I'll know what to get. What will it be?
You know all the side effects.
Yeah. I know all the side effects. I've seen all the bent carrots I could possibly see. It's great. It's great. You know what? This is perfect time to say exactly.
This is fun. We're having fun.
Yes, we're having a lot of fun. We're having a great amount of fun. I'm going to say this about the Fox side of it, right? And maybe this is me just being a jealous NASCAR fan. I'll fully admit that's probably what it is. I am so damn sick of every single NASCAR race I have to hear. You know what? You should go watch IndyCar instead, or NHRA, or UFL. I'm sick of far more than any other broadcast. For Fox especially is hey, you're watching this, go watch something else instead. Hey, the IndyCar race is on right now. You should go watch that on Big Fox. It's like, why? It's the dumbest thing. It's like if a bunch of people went in the chat and they're like, hey, so-and-so's live right now, go watch that. Like, no, I don't want to see that.
It's up there with Artie cutting to a kid yawning and falling asleep during the Clash this year. Remember when they did that?
That and the drunk Chase Elliott fan is just
they're over here trying to hype up the madhouse, and they cut to a kid literally asleep. And Harvick and Boyer in the booth were like, what do we say? Like, what do we say? They're just like, our product's putting people to sleep and we're showing millions of people. It's right up there with that. Like, it's like they actually hate the sport is what it feels like.
Best part of all of it is like, I saw, I'm not at the track, but I'm seeing all these different people are like, dude, you should hear how Boyer is under commercial. Like, he's a completely different person. He's pointing out stuff that the other two don't see. He's super serious with it. He's telling them what we need to do with each segment and all of that. And then he goes back to being Clint Boyer, the character. And it's like, I don't want to see him be discount DW. I want if Clint's like that, let him be him. Like, if I want to discount DW, I'd see Michael Waltrip instead. Like that. I don't get it. I don't get how Fox has went from the pinnacle of sports broadcasting to now everyone. It's not just NASCAR fans, especially like I talk to my football people like that I know, and they're like, they're saying, like, oh man, Fox has been getting really bad last couple of years. Like, a lot of these guys are really old. They don't know what they're talking about. They're missing stuff on the broadcast. And I'm like, hello, canary in the coal mine here.
When you go to a race, if you can, buy you one of these from, and you'll be able to listen in to drivers. But I like listening into the Fox Communications. Like you were saying, I think it's funny to hear Clint Boyer and even Michael Waltrip for that matter, and other stuff. They will both surprise you and be a little bit more serious and stuff they're talking about under commercial breaks.
Yeah, we don't need characters. We need analysts.
I agree. Bobby Blair in the chat says just a few more weeks, guys. And that is true. It's the one good thing about this new TV deal is there's a couple less FS1 races, and we'll be over to Prime Video by Memorial Day weekend. The poll is up next, Jarrett. The famous iceberg poll. Do you have a few comments that you'd like to read through? First, what were the results? What did viewers think of the Food City 500?
I'm not gonna lie, guys. This is rough. This is probably the roughest poll we've seen in years. So 12,000 voted. Only 6% voted this is a great race. 13% good. So net positivity of 19%.
That's pretty low.
God bless them.
Like
28% average, 53 negative.
positivity rating isn't even old enough to buy a beer. That's very sad.
Yeah.
That's some jarring for our polls.
I voted
alone-
like 10 times, so yeah.
Trust me, I went on all my alt accounts, just put bad, and I get that probably is me putting my hand on the scale a little bit. 5 out of 12,000.
0.1%.
But
The swing vote.
we had 28% average, 53% negative, and so I've been keeping track here. And let's see, all
Is it a new
time
poll record?
No, that still belongs to the 2022 All-Star race, negative wise. And let's see, we have polled for 11 Bristol concrete races, I believe. Let me make sure I'm counting that correctly. Yes, 11, and then 3 on the dirt. This is far and away the worst ever.
It's a little surprising to me, but
Wait,
okay.
Can I guess which one's at the top?
The top do you want to know what the span of years we've been doing it for?
You've done it since 2018, right?
2019.
2019. Okay, so 2021 fall.
That is second.
Damn.
Ooh.
To 2019 fall.
So oh yeah.
That was the De Benedetto race.
Yes.
I'm surprised that one was so high. We were there. It was a good race. I don't remember being.
It was pretty good throughout. It was good.
Something about that race, and I had been to a lot of the previous ones were leading up to that. Something about that whole race going into it just felt different. Just something about that whole weekend was different.
That crowd, remember Danny? Like, because we had a whole section filled out because there was all those people at the meetup that were there, and the whole section when they were playing Thunderstruck started stomping our feet with it, and then the seconds. Yep. The atmosphere that night was one of the most electric atmospheres I've ever.
I think that was the last time that it really felt like an old Bristol crowd, I would say.
Yeah.
For me at least. The only thing it rivaled that night for me crowd wise at Bristol was the Tennessee Virginia Tech football game, but that was just something totally in and of itself.
Yeah, that was like a once in a lifetime thing. But like, you listen to this too, right? The 3 lowest are 2023's Bristol night race, third lowest at 66% positive, 2024 at 30% positive, and then, of course, 19% for 2025. The only outlier in the next gen era is the 2022 night race that was highly voted, and then last year's spring race, which were both in the mid 80s positivity-wise. So right at the start of the next gen era, when we didn't know any better,
and Chris Buescher winning was popular at the time. I remember.
Yeah, I mean, it's consistently every single concrete race outside of 2024 spring has consistently got worse. All of the most hated Bristol dirt races were 72% or higher, and this was 19%, third lowest all time to both 2022 Texas races. And I would argue the All-Star race that year was definitely bolstered by the finish too. It was bad, but the finish is what really did that. This is, I would argue, unprecedented. We have never this far in had this much hatred.
I'm excited to hear the gutter.
Race. Oh yeah, yeah, let's get to it. Their first comment was from the ultimate KFB fan who said, "Wow, that was a sad race. I'm happy for Larson, but I wanted last year's race again."
Dang. Yeah.
Yeah, I think y'all better hope for a cold front in Tennessee moving forward if you want that.
Or move it to the week after Atlanta at this rate.
Maybe.
We'll get it cold enough, damn it. Might rain, but it'll be cold.
Snowmobile 500.
Hey, maybe the championship race at Bristol ain't such a bad idea.
A couple of the comments here, and then we'll get to the gutter. LG Knight 2019 says, "We want more horsepower. We want more horsepower. We want more horsepower. We want more horsepower."
Guys, I don't know what they want.
Yeah, what do we want? Bigger doors.
Come again? What was that?
We race cars, not horses. I don't know why you're asking for more horses.
Matt Crafton is very not happy, said, "Looking for the atrocious option. I can't find it."
Just scroll a little bit further down. You'll get there eventually. It's called the gutter comments.
The gutter comments at this point are going to be all positive things, aren't they?
That's why I'm curious to hear them. I want to see the delusion firsthand.
GD Shark says, this felt like a Goodyear ad. Hey, we make long-lasting racing tires at Goodyear.
It's a conspiracy.
Vanilla Spook says, bring back the dirt. It was entertaining, and we were just getting into a flow of the idea working.
It's just too much effort for them to justify doing it. It was fun, but they can't. They don't want to just bring it in and just do NASCAR, because it's also probably not worth them to put in all the effort into doing random dirt races that aren't going to get near enough attention.
Connor, was there still any like dirt in the grandstands? Like, did you see any like just dusty areas?
Not really, no.
Damn.
There was a lot of tire rubber, and I found a bottle cap, but that's
Eric, do you realize how much it's rained since the last time there was dirt in there? There could be no more in there.
I could stain the. I don't know how dirt works.
Hey, I'll say this: I parked at if you park at Talladega when it's dry and that clay, like it gets all over you, but if it's muddy and that clay gets in there, I was finding clay underneath like the wheel wells of my car last summer from Talladega, and the last time I had parked there with my car was 2021 because I'd rode in 22. Like, dirt can stay a while, but
oh yeah.
Brendan H 2112, good song. 2112 says, I'm torn because I'm happy to see my dude win, but God, this car is ass cheeks. You can only blame Goodyear so much before NASCAR needs to recognize the car is the problem. Like that. Ass cheeks.
Just
I'm realizing something, right? Like, we had made the joke of like, if you look at NASCAR podcasts, whether it's like Bless Your Heart or Glass Case of Emotion, all those, like,
what an interesting podcast to start with.
Well, what I'm saying is like these NASCAR and like big budget podcasts, for some reason, they revolve at some point talking about poop. And if you go look, it's actually really odd. But then like I look at the independent side, and the amount of time we talk about ass, whether it's belt to ass cheeks, this race's ass, like we say that a lot. Like, you could do a drinking game. And
I love that when we say something's bad, now we just say it's ass cheeks, or we just say it's cheeks. That's probably my favorite one, dude.
I was in the car with my parents a few weeks ago, and I was explaining to my mom what, like, I think I said something like, oh, that sounds like cheeks. And they went, what? And I had to explain to them what it meant. And then I saw my parents like a few weeks later, and my mom dropped a, like, this is cheeks, like perfectly in flow, like made perfect sense. And I was very impressed with my mom. I was like, wow, that was incredible.
I'm proud of you, Mom.
Yeah. I gave her the first hug I've given her in years. I said, this is
the other one.
Didn't even hug her at your wedding. You hugged her for that.
No, yeah.
The other one Riss brought up is like, she's like, what? Why do we just all, like, we've all say it, but why do we all just say everything and everyone is crashing out now? Like, I love it, but like, when did we start saying this?
Yeah,
I'm
where
like,
did that come from?
Yeah, I don't know where crashing out came from. It just suddenly was like here.
Which TikTok trend did we miss? We're like boomers on the internet these days.
The three hosts, at least, we're considered. I've noticed the amount of people that have been in my comments that have been like, oh, he's one of those older YouTubers. Like, that's an old guy there. And I'm like, I'm 27.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're 54 in internet years.
Bedtime,
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, especially after I take my my prescription, couple of beers after thinking about short track racing right now. Jared Kinsley here says it speaks volumes when cars pit and get 40-ish or more new lap tires and only gain 2 to 3 positions in 80 laps. Yeah, Blaney in that whole sequence didn't gain a spot off of where he was before the pit cycle started.
Yeah, I think he got back to where he was. Yeah.
He was 5th before and he was 5th after.
I mean, and even in the truck race, I tweeted it because I was like, oh, not sure what this means going forward. But like Raja, and we love Raja, he's got a good truck, good driver, but he had 60 extra laps on his tires and held off like the whole field for a 40 lap, 50 lap run.
I had no idea what was happening there. I literally was in the corner, like just filming the turn, and I looked up, he's leading, and then I looked up again, he's still leading. And
maybe they were all playing
tire strategy. I thought he just did it out of spite.
I was like, oh, that's not a great sign. Feels like they should be able to shuffle him out, and took him a while. Anyway.
Last one here, Yankee Doodle said much better than last year. Okay, I will admit, getting towards the bottom. Let's get to the gutter. All right, let's
Okay,
get
give
to
me
the
the gutter.
gutter comments. 81 Casper Flip simply said it was amazing.
Yep, that's what I was expecting to find in the gutter.
Yep.
Casper, you're a friendly ghost, but you're wrong.
He's a Larson fan, probably.
Maybe. Bosch 51 says, I'm just happy that Kyle Larson beat one of my most hated drivers in Denny Hamlin and ended his chances of winning 3 races in a row and ruining 3 weekends in a row for myself. Plus, Larson had a hot rod leading 411 of 500 laps en route to victory. Does Clint Boyer have a burner account?
Take a
saying
shot
hot
every
rod
time you
there?
hear a hot
Look at that
rod.
hot rod on the track out here. Get him
Uh,
give him Michael Waltrip together. Danny dying that hot rod.
And Jacob Parker with the lowest comment in the gutter says it was a great race. You guys are just haters. Glaze on Kyle effing Larson.
Glazed on.
All right, that's another one. Glazed.
I haven't heard that use of the word. That's
I've heard glazed, like you got glazed eyes, but what does that mean?
I've
It's like
heard
Johnny Storm in the Fantastic Four instead of Flame On.
Glaze on.
Glaze. I don't want to know what his power is, but yeah.
I feel like a lot of people don't know the origin of glazing. I remember that when I was in high school.
Do you make Krispy Kreme donuts?
All right. I think some of us are revealing our age a little
do.
too. Some of us are revealing our age in this thing. The gutter was Cheeks this week. I think we can move on to the Xfinity and truck race real quick because there's not much to say there either. The Xfinity race was once again the Kyle Larson show. There was a huge crash though when Dean Thompson turned Sheldon Creed and he was basically sitting at a 90-degree angle in the center of the racetrack. One car, I forget who it was, barely missed him. It was the white Smithley in the 14. And that made me literally, as I'm watching, go, whoop, and then not a second later, Brendan Poole comes in and clips him and blam, massive impact, sheared the right rear like axle completely off the 44 car. The whole right side of that car was gone. We haven't seen that kind of damage on an Xfinity car. I don't know, since the last time someone hit the fence, probably actually got it. Like when Myatt Snyder got up into the fence a couple of years ago, that was the last time I feel an Xfinity car got truly ripped to shreds like Brennan's car did. Thankfully, Brennan was okay.
Between him and Mike Harmon, what is it with the 44 Xfinity Series cars just ripping in half at Bristol?
Interesting. That's a good observation. I mean, Bristol it's fast, it's close, it's hard to see. It has some scary crashes, but thankfully Brennan and Sheldon were both okay. Sheldon Creed, man, bad luck again. Thought he might have a good run going at Bristol, but instant with Dean Thompson, tough to see.
I mean, that was about the only thing that really happened. I mean, the thing is like I don't blame either of them. Like if anyone's to blame most, it'd be Dean Thompson for just continuously bashing the back of Creed's car.
I wanted to give Dean credit for because after that incident, he ran like 7th, 8th, 9th most of the day, and like he was teammates with Corey Heim this weekend, and they were running kind of right with each other for a lot of the race, like within a few positions. And I was like, oh, Dean Thompson, look at this race he's having. And then I remember that he just kind of turned to 0-0.
Because oh my god, I just realized something. Both the Xfinity and Cup races had the same teams finish second, like the same team in that race finished second, third, and fourth. JRM finished second, third, and fourth with Quapple, Allgaier, and Sammy Smith. And then in the Cup race, Gibbs guys finished second, third, and fourth with Hamlin, Gibbs, and Briscoe.
And I believe Allgaier got the Dash for Cash bonus, right?
Yes, I believe that. The thing was after that crash, I didn't really care because it's just two guys racing against each other.
Yeah, it was Creed and Poole were both in the Dash for Cash, and I think Austin Hill was the other Dash for Cash guy, and he just sucked all day. He was like 17th. So yeah, it was kind of the Xfinity did not get their money's worth, unfortunately.
Well, I was also just thinking about it. Larson came very, very close to getting his. Like we talked about it so much at Homestead, but he almost won all 3 of them. Which the truck race, I didn't think about it much because it was Chandler Smith and Bailey Curry and Roger Carruth all leading that race, but he was one pass away.
He ended up getting to second. Didn't he? He had a speeding penalty in that race, didn't he? That cost him some track position. I don't know that he was going to be I don't think he had the clear equipment advantage or setup advantage in the truck race like he did in Xfinity and Cup. But yeah, if he doesn't have that penalty, maybe he does get the clean Kyle Busch style
Hey,
sweep. But
say this too:
yeah,
best car won each race. I would argue the
yeah,
best car won each
it's true.
race.
I think that's
Uh,
true.
so can't hate it that
I
much.
thought it was a little toss up in the truck series at least.
I thought
Well, I
Bailey
mean,
Curry could have done I felt so bad for
Yes.
Bailey, man.
Yeah.
Oh, I forget what broke on his. I think maybe just lost a cylinder. What happened?
Transmission,
It
I
got
think
in
it was.
Yeah.
Transmission. That's it. Yeah, man. But he was top 5, and that's a part time. He's part time in that truck. And Nice, they're good, but they're not quite where they were with Chastain and even Hocevar. Like that was a really good run for Bailey. He was up there like battling for the lead in that 44 truck until it let go. That was a shame.
Yeah, I mean, it just sucked. As soon as he fell back, I was like, can we not have like something good tonight here? Like, because I'd say the truck race was the best race of the weekend overall. I think Xfinity had battles through the pack at times, but has struggled. But it wasn't exactly great. I think I gave it like a 6 out of 10 after the race. Like, it wasn't great. But
Yeah, Chandler Smith, though, it's his first win since going back down now to trucks, front row. Yeah, so it's interesting. We talk a lot this week as well about Larson and other Cup guys running Xfinity and truck races, bushwhacking the field. Should there be a more strict limit, or should they open it up more? And my argument was that I think it's a pretty good balance, because if you look at the truck series this season, 4 of the 6 truck races have been won by truck regulars. You had Heim or Kligerman, depending on how you look at it. Daytona. Heim's got 2 wins this year. You got Chandler Smith this week, and then I forget who the other winner was now, but Kyle Busch and Larson are the only 2 Cup winners to come down and win a truck race. And then on the Xfinity side, I know he should have probably won Homestead, but Kyle Larson's win at Bristol was the first Xfinity win by a Cup regular this year. Bowman, remember, got used up by Almirola. At Darlington, remember, there was like Christopher Bell, Ross Chastain, Chase Elliott were in that race, but it was Brandon Jones who got the win. So yeah, all this talk about Cup guys stinking up the show. It's like, I don't know. They haven't, outside of Larson once or twice. They haven't.
That's the thing, is there's not as many as there used to be. Because
I think it's a good balance.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say keep it as is. I'd say, like, if you want to make any exception, and because you don't have to make it too hard here, but if you don't make any exception, if a Cup guy wants to race past their allotted 5, I'm okay with it. If you do an Xfinity team that's a full-time team that's outside the top 20 in owner points, make it difficult on the Cup guys. Make it better for a team that might need to get that. And maybe you can do past the top 25. Make it to where, like, a team that needs good performances can call in a Cup driver. It might screw up the back of the pack, and maybe that's the wrong way to go about it. But if, like, you want to do anything, even the playing field, because if you had somebody that was, say, in, I don't know what car is like 25th in owner points in Xfinity, someone can probably pull that up. But
that'd be a pretty steep drop off. That'd be like putting Larson in the 45, like in the Alpha Prime 45.
We've seen the 45 car win stages before. You get him on those tires. Like, do you think he could probably make it up like on a tire difference compare like what he could make up to compare what like Tommy Joe Martins could? Love Tommy Joe Martins. He ain't Kyle Larson, and I think he would tell you that. Like, that would be really interesting, because then you have someone carrying maybe a 20th or 25th place car to a top 10, and they could still end up winning depending on if things happen. But you even out that playing field, so you're not screwing over the best ones out there too. But
I like the idea of somehow maybe incentivizing them to do that, because you would have to. Otherwise, why would a top driver willingly drive for a slow car if they don't have to? But I like that idea of like that's like when Lemonis used to do the bounty for who can beat Kyle Busch in a truck race or whatever it was. Like, this is like a new version of that. It's like a new sort of race within the race. How far can Kyle Larson take this 25th place car on Saturday? That'd be kind of fun. It'd be interesting.
Jags fan 3039 brings up the 99 is 25th in owner. So Matt DiBenedetto's car, Viking Motorsports. Yeah,
Dibby, you're out for the week. Kyle Larson's in.
I bet you Kyle Larson would be 10 spots better.
Oof.
And to me, go for it.
I was gonna say, big shout out. I just want to make sure I get this in. Tyler Tomasi, when we were in the trailer before the truck race, we were like looking through the lineup and everything, and he was like, maybe around 27th, 28th. We can get the top 30. That's a good run. He ended up finishing 21st. It was a hell of a run for the EllyProductions.
That's right.
F-150.
I love
That
that.
was you brought it up earlier. It was funny because like I was getting ready for my post race stream, and John Ramos, IDK player, he calls me and he just goes, "Dude, when did Ellie Productions get a truck?" And I'm like, "I don't know, but you saw that too? Like I didn't know that was." And
We
I
only
look
knew
up and I
about the
see your
Xfinity car.
yeah. I looked up and I'm like, "Wait, I recognize that."
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that is awesome. The run they had.
You got the best ever 2-for-1 package anyone could ever ask
Oh
for.
hell yeah, it was a great deal, great weekend.
The highlight of what was otherwise a fairly disappointing Bristol Motor Speedway race weekend. That's going to do it for the first half of our show. We've got some rumors that we're going to talk about in the second half. We're also going to preview Rockingham Speedway. We've also got our fun segments. Ellie Productions here is going to try and beat his random driver of the week guessing record somehow, some way. But first, we've got quite a few super chats. We're going to start with our first super chat stage break. I'll go for a few minutes. Very fitting. Thank you to folks who even sent super chats before the show. We'll start with Napa Racing Fan 927. Number one Fox moment on Sunday. Last side-by-side, Fox zoomed in on a hot air balloon during the race. Fox was more entertained by a balloon than Bristol. Yeah, damn. That's did you when you're up there, Connor, did you talk to any of the camera guys? Did you offer any to, hey, can you pass this message along to your to the suits? Hey, we need this. Oh, okay. Well,
No, there was only two of them. One of them was hard at work. The other was eating a sandwich. And
that's probably not the time to intrude.
Out
That's
of
smart.
all the things that they do, why can't they ever just film a train for me at Martinsville? They never seem to look at those.
We need Danny to direct the broadcast going forward. Be like, what? There's a lot of
Well,
train shots.
they shoot the planes landing behind Daytona. Why can't they do the trains?
Good point. Irvin Alvarado, thank you for the 10. Larson after Darlington told NASCAR that he was about to show the leather belt and went full spanking domination Xfinity field to help then. Thank you for the super chat, Irvin Alvarado. He does say, I think he's going heel like John Cena to try and win it all. I did appreciate the kind of the trash talk from Larson this week, saying that his goal is to embarrass the Xfinity field, embarrass NASCAR. He wants to just kind of show that these young drivers still have ways to go. And I mean, the time to talk trash is after you dominate back-to-back races. So I kind of liked him leaning into it.
Talk trash to Denny too. I love it.
Yeah, I like it. We need more legit rivalries at the front of the field. Arnold with the super chat says, my fellow motorsports fans, this is not recall. This is a total recall. And I've come back from the future to terminate, all caps, the lower horsepower and clean up NASCAR. Paid for by the people who really, really don't like Steve Phelps. Okay. Thank you, Arnold.
I think I like this character. I'd be happy seeing this one continue.
I'm not going to do the accent, but they spell it as Arnold, so I kind of have to do the accent.
It's not a tumor.
It's not a tumor.
That was good.
Do the old terrorizer voice. If anybody watched the Vanoss crew back in the day,
that's a good one. Another Irvin Alvarado says, actually, I think if Xfinity or truck drivers screw up a race, Kyle Larson, like The Rock, aka the final boss, shows up to punish them completely. Another WWE crossover here. Irvin Alvarado wish casting Kyle Larson into the ring, it sounds like. Justin Drake, very generous super chat before the show began, said, all right, let's get the party started. I love Larson's comments on wanting to dominate the Xfinity series. He is right in his assessment of those kids needing a reality check, that they're not at all on the level of Cup Series contention. I mean, yeah, I didn't have a problem with him saying it, frankly. Because I think you're right. I think we see rookies come into the Cup Series the last few years and aren't as ready to win now as they were when we were kids, when the Matt Kenseths and Dale Juniors were winning in their rookie season, and Kevin Harvick won in like his fourth race in the 29 car. You know, like you don't see that anymore, really, unless we count Austin Cindric's Daytona 500 win. But that was the outlier. Daniel Meredith says, let's go Casey Kane at the Rock Saturday. Yes, Casey Kane makes his NASCAR return. We'll talk about that a bit later. Isaac V24 says horsepower is to NASCAR what dehydration gun is to Megamind versus the Doom Syndicate. I did not see that movie or a show. Was it a movie or a show? I forget what it was, but they did.
Megamind was a movie, I think.
Didn't they make a sequel?
Yeah, it was like the worst sequel ever. I never saw it. I don't plan on it.
They had to change Minion's name because the Minions got the rights to the name Minion.
Oh, that's tough.
Hey, side note, going back to the person who said something about Casey Kane. This Good Friday will be a very great Friday. It'll be a great, very great Casey Kane Friday. He will be practicing on Friday. He will be on the track for Casey Kane Friday.
Keep
I love
rolling,
that.
rolling.
SW here says more horsepower NASCAR, more spamming Kylo Ren, more memes. I like that. Vogues, thank you for the super chat. Remind Ellie to make sure his mic isn't muted. Little winky face emoji.
I hate you, Vogues.
A Prada says, hey guys, can we finally admit that Bristol has officially sucked since the track was ruined in 07? It's no coincidence that most of the Bristol highlights predate 07. The second sentence is correct. I'll give them that. But we talked about this earlier, and Jerry, you rattled off a few dates, a few races. There have been some really good ones. The Iceberg Pole. A lot of fans have enjoyed some of the more modern Bristol races. It's a temperamental track. It's had as many, I don't want to say as many, it's had almost as many duds as it's had hits in recent years, is the unfortunate truth. I will do a few more here just so we don't have quite as many at the very end of the show. Another one from A Prada. Current Bristol was masked by the Gen 5, Gen 6, but the Gen 7 has exposed a bad car and track combination. Both car and track need a major revamp. I think we could probably agree with A Prada on that front. Andrew Winslow says Alex Bowman is the lol cow of the week for his engine. As punishment, he has to go to Ty Gibbs's house and convince Ty he is the Easter bunny. That's an interesting task. I appreciate the
Why?
I could picture Ty Gibbs in like the pink or like Easter bunny suit from A Christmas Story that Ralphie has to wear. Couldn't you just kind of picture Ty Gibbs?
I think he meant to say Jesus.
I'm a fluffy bunny.
I'm about to ask AI to show me Ty Gibbs dressed as the Easter Bunny.
That was clever there, Connor, with the Jesus Ty Gibbs reference. I hope people pick that up. I will do just like 3 more here, I promise. Mr. Penguin, thank you for the 10. I think this was Corey Day's kind of best performance. I get that he's new to asphalt, but I think they should drop the next Kyle Larson comparison when he drives asphalt / NASCAR. I get he is in dirt. Yeah, Corey Day, I think we've talked about this maybe on the show, has not jumped off the screen yet in his select truck. And I don't know, has he done some Xfinity starts? I forget now. He's been
That's
okay.
how forgetful he's been.
Yeah, he's been okay at best. He's not jumping up. He's really young, transitioning to this style of racing, but yeah, has not lit the world on fire yet. We'll be patient, of course. He's a Hendrick development driver, but hasn't gotten off to a hot start. Chris McIntyre says, we interrupt this FS1 race's commercials to have a commercial to tell you we're airing an IndyCar race on Fox right now. Back to commercials. Yeah, basically what we talked about earlier. And we'll wrap up, I think, with this one for our first super chat stage break from GN NASCAR fan. At this point, if NASCAR isn't going to try horsepower, just throw dirt on the short tracks. I mean, we already gimmicked the races enough, so might as well. Dirt Richmond coming soon. No, that's not an actual rumor. I just said that to fan the flames. But thank you all for the super chats. If we haven't gotten to your super chat yet, we will get to it by the end of the show. We greatly appreciate your support. We have a lot to get to tonight. It's an off weekend, but there's still so much going on. There's so much in the air, including some electricity. Oh, it's time for the lightning round here on NWP. Jarrett, we'll let you take it away.
Yeah, it's actually some pretty big things in the lightning round side this week. First off, of course, we have the NWP Clips channel, which should have some more fun stuff coming soon, but we always re-upload these in their entirety, even if there's glitching or anything internet-wise during it, because I know we had that last week. The full episode without any of that is always recorded and put on there. Because, sometimes you do it live. Stuff happens. Big news here. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been named to the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America, according to J-Ski. For this weekend. Yeah, for this weekend, something big to keep in mind and for fans long-term here. Ben Kennedy says that a cup race at the Rock is on their radar. They just need to see it succeed for a few years in the lower series, not kind of putter out like last time per the Charlotte Observer. So it's in the fans' hands from his words. Tony Stewart won his first NHRA Top Fuel drag race this past week. And
so happy for him.
I love the little onesie he had his kid in. After the race, they took like a whole family picture. Really cool stuff. I mean, Tony Stewart, he's won in everything he's gotten into. Just one.
And at the age he still is, like, he is still proving he can just do anything.
Those reflexes.
I would love to have seen him have that shot at that Xfinity race a couple years ago after he retired. Remember, I think it was 2020.
Yeah.
You know, for the heck of it, I hope Kyle Larson does NHRO one day just to see if he can do that too.
Oh, I bet he could. I would love to see. He would be like winning one of them and then have the biggest crash in the next one and then turn around and like hop into somebody else's and do one or the other after. Catherine Legg, on top of the other start she's making, will be racing in the 78 in Mexico. So another addition to the field in Mexico, which I'm just going to go off on a limb and say I think they're probably going to have 40 cars for that. Maybe some Go Arrow homers. That's going to be a pretty big date because we're already seeing with Suarez and among others, like sponsors from around the area in Mexico and Mexico City are sponsoring. So it's going to be a lot of international money probably put into that.
Kyle
too.
Busch allowed to go there?
I think
Yes.
have we sorted that out yet?
Okay,
I think he got all that figured out.
Cool.
Yes. Hopefully he fires off fast. NASCAR Full Speed Season 2 will debut May 7th on Netflix. I saw the trailer today. It was weird. I turned on because I was out for the morning and I came back this afternoon. And as soon as I turned on YouTube, it said I saw the trailer and it had no views uploaded 6 seconds ago. I'm like, holy shit! Oh, I gotta watch this.
Did you type first,
Yeah,
Jared?
type first.
No, the thought bots beat me.
Oh,
It's how did you have such an interesting? What was it? How do you think of such interesting topics for your videos? While I see female genitalia as the profile picture, and I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know if you guys see it in your comment sections. It's in mine a lot, and it annoys the shit out of me.
I just respond I'm busy that day.
My full-time job is I work for a Christian news organization, and every single video that we ever post anything is immediately 5 comments of probably the nicest and most sincere thing you've ever read your entire life, or a foreign language saying who knows what, with nothing but female genitalia. It's like, yeah, here's what the Christians want to see.
Detesting every way. I'll tell you what, I have blocked so many of those accounts, so many of them from like
you cut one head off, 2 more take its
it's a
place.
hydra. It is.
Yes.
It is an internet hydra. And you know they're not coming from 4chan, seeing how they all got leaked this past week. I don't know if y'all saw that. 4chan apparently all the mods got doxxed and stuff, and so
They're coming to Twitter.
Batten
down the hatches.
The 4chaners are coming to Twitter and they're taking our DMs away. And then that next week will be on my channel. John Ramos, aka IDK Player, will be coming on. So it should be a lot of fun. He'll be very professional, I promise.
Good. That's what we expect.
What did he do last time?
I agree with Bill Truitt. He said you guys all have some pretty good wrenches in here. Keeps that spam out. Yeah, thank you to all of our mods.
Yes.
Thank you,
And your
Blue Wrenches.
wrenches of power.
So the meme of John being professional is we used to put a lot of pictures up of our guests the next week, but it was easier just to add it into the next week so everyone can see and hear in that moment. And the picture we chose for John was like this very prim and proper picture he took for like some headshot. And I should see. I don't know if he still has it. I should see if he still has the suit.
At this point, I mean, he wore a suit to the Daytona 500.
That's what I'm saying. No, he wore it to the truck race.
To the truck race.
Yeah.
Still, he's out there in the Daytona International Speedway grandstand, suit and tie, 3 rows from the fence.
Well, the deal with that was like if for the Florida 500, if we broke the record for viewers, he'd wear a suit to the Daytona 500. It was like that, and like a super chat goal. Like if we hit one of these goals, I'll wear a suit to the Daytona 500, or to the truck race, I should say. And so he FaceTimes me like 3 hours before the truck race. He goes, "Hey, what's up?" And he's in this full suit get up, very well formed, all that,
very well behaved.
Very well behaved. And so we're talking about it back and forth. He lets me go, and not 20 minutes later, there's this video of him walking into Daytona being recorded by one of the other guys in NR night. And he says, "Yeah, this person thought it was Secret Service." They leaned over to me. He goes, he's going to be here Sunday, right?
He should have just put a little fake earpiece in.
That's what I was telling him.
Yeah,
Like,
he should have had shades.
Well, no, he has the
AirPods.
He wears those aviators everywhere. I'm like, dude, wear the aviators and get one of those little like an AirPod with like just like squizzly thing
like this the whole time.
Yeah, just like right in the front row. Like
Really well
nobody's
behaved.
gonna mess with you. Like it's like the big. Okay, here's the thing.
He could
I'm not
probably
gonna go
sneak up
too
onto the
far
roof
here.
where the
Yeah,
cameras are.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, no
this is
problem with
part of
that.
it. Thing is, in racing, and I learned this from, and I won't name. There's multiple journalists have told me, multiple people working the track, and I heard it even back in the day as a kid getting autographs. If you just act like you're supposed to be there, and you really are able to sell it and just walk confidently, no one will stop you.
Yep, that's number one rule. If I have like a essential credential or whatever, sometimes there are areas like I'm plenty fine to go into. If I'm not sure, I just walk like I know what I'm doing. And if someone says something, then oh well. But if not, I just walk like I know what I'm doing.
Strutting your stuff. That was the lightning round presented by nobody. But we do have some exciting headlines coming up next. Headlines maybe is an overstatement. We got some rumors, some rumblings to discuss
Reckless speculation.
on NWP. Jarrett said it best, some reckless speculations. Did you guys see this? I've not listened to Door Bumper Clear this week. Apparently they referenced it as well. So I've not heard what they may or may not have said about it. But we did see on Twitter, this rumor was sparked by a former NASCAR mechanic who's very active on social media still, said that a popular intermediate track is expected to get the Atlanta treatment sometime in the not so distant future. Of course, Atlanta was once a traditional 1.5 miles, was reconfigured into a baby super speedway, more or less. I believe the person who started the rumor later confirmed that they've heard it would be Kansas Speedway, which
Yes.
obviously very popular intermediates, put on some of the best racing the past couple of years. But then to add a wrinkle into all this, Mike Ford of Actions Detrimental fame, also Hauler Talk fame, NASCAR communications representative, tweeted that for what it's worth, this isn't happening at any of the NASCAR owned tracks. So that eliminates theoretically
Yes.
Kansas from the list.
Yeah.
And I did follow up with somebody that source of mine at ISC who said the same thing. He reached out to people at the track all around. There's nothing going on there at Kansas.
So it won't be Kansas, likely won't be Chicagoland, or I'm blanking on other SMI or ISC owned intermediate
Michigan.
tracks. Michigan, thank you. Yeah,
There's probably one
Talladega.
other we're not thinking. Yeah, we're gonna Atlantify Talladega, 1.5 miles Talladega, baby.
it suddenly hit me how many 1.5 miles SMI owns, which now, if these rumors are true, which because the initial rumor poster said it was Kansas and now it sounds like it's not Kansas, I must admit I doubt the validity of this rumor quite a bit now. But let's say it is true that a track somewhere, not NASCAR owned, is getting the super speedway treatment. It would be a Texas or a Charlotte or a Las Vegas. I guess maybe a Nashville.
Some have said
Technically,
Kentucky Speedway from the dead.
reincarnate. Which track, if any of those, makes the most sense to you guys?
All right, I gotta list those out again because there's so many damn 1.5 miles they have.
Charlotte, Texas.
Texas, and they make the banking actually steeper than Atlanta because everything is bigger in
God.
Texas.
Oh my God, guys, our Texas Super Speedway meme that we've been going on and on about for 6
Tex-
years.
Texas Mega Speedway, 3 miles long.
We made this up in 2018 as a joke, and now it like actually might have some validity.
Oh,
That is
yeah.
insane.
They need to make it shaped like Texas, like the state of Texas.
Yes, but still a super speedway
Yeah,
somehow.
exactly. It's like the turns are like 70, 80 degrees.
Mario Kart turns.
Okay.
Exactly.
So, okay, Las Vegas, Charlotte,
I gotta
Texas,
look at the property of Texas
Kentucky.
Motor Speedway. Could it even become 3 miles?
Probably not. But
Not
so
easily.
Vegas, Charlotte, Texas, Kentucky, Nashville. I have that's all. I mean, we're not going to count Atlanta in this, obviously. Unless we just Atlanta.
Make it even more of a super speedway.
So those are the 5 options we got. Okay, so Charlotte doesn't make sense to me personally. The 600
No.
it stands on its own. They got the Roval, but they might even go back to the Oval in the next year or two.
They
at the
should.
playoff.
I'm so tired of the Roval.
So I'd cross that one out. Nashville doesn't make sense to me because the area I don't think you could do this at a 1.33 track.
Yeah, it's too small. And I
Yeah, and
still
you
not
can't build it
convinced
out.
Nashville's a long-term like Cup series. I don't know that its spot on the schedule is that stable.
It's more secure with this car putting on snoozers at short tracks. I will say that.
That's probably true.
So I don't see that one. Vegas, I know when I had reached out to a few people before they had said anything, Vegas was one that was like on the radar. But if that's going to be part of the rotation and they've said they wouldn't do super speedways, I don't get that. So to me, Texas and Kentucky are the only ones that make sense. And Kentucky right now is it's not as bad as a Wilkesboro back in the day, but the elements are starting to get to it. I mean, if you've seen some of the aerial shots, like there's grass growing out of pavement in different areas.
The only way any momentum for a Kentucky, like the reason North Wilkesboro got back was because of different YouTube videos that were made, Dale Earnhardt Jr. promote. Like there was real momentum that was generated for years behind Wilkesboro and eventually helped lead to its return. There is no momentum around a Kentucky return right now. And maybe they think turning it into a super speedway would do that. But I think there's a better chance of people just wanting old school Kentucky back because of how the next gen races at at intermediate tracks.
And a couple other parts of the Kentucky side that just don't make sense to me too is one, like we've been, Eric, you and me were around Chicagoland and I've been around there. Like that track is being taken care of. Like they're hiring people, it seems like at least they're hiring people on. When you see the NASCAR jobs thing, there's always tweets about hiring on like nurses, security. Like there's actual movement with Chicagoland. It's had racing events there in the last year or two. Kentucky is literally just being basically shoveled and used for Fords to be there without chips in them. The market, it doesn't make sense. They're already looking at a Cincinnati street race being a possibility in the next couple of years. They have Nashville Super Speedway, the fairgrounds, the Gateway now you could kind of count drawing some of that on top of Indianapolis. Texas is the only one to me that makes sense. The only issue I have with this, because I think Texas should have been the track they did it with the whole time, because I liked Atlanta. I knew it was going to wear like this, and I still think it'll be a good intermediate. The only way I'd be okay with this, instead of just making Texas a good intermediate again, because I think it was for a while, is if Atlanta gets to the point where it is not feasibly possible to be a super speedway, we can lose a super speedway date in the process, but still elevate Texas, which is already doing pretty good ratings wise and attendance wise. And we're good there. If we have 7 or 8 super speedways, if they add another Texas date on, thinking, well, heck, it's doing well here, let's add another one. I was more talking about it this past week as like, how do you take it seriously when a quarter of the schedule would be super speedways, hypothetically? Like, how do you crown a real champion of that? It's just who got lucky in a lot of aspects. Like, yeah, a lot of good super speedway guys will be up there, but like, are we really saying Austin Cindric is one of the elite guys because he's good at a quarter of the races or super speedways? He's not.
Yeah, I mean, so there's 2 ways to go with this. One, I totally agree. We don't need another super speedway, and not even that we don't need. I don't want another super speedway on the schedule. I think 6 super speedway races is pushing it already. But, and this is a big but.
There we go again.
Cheeks. Sorry. Atlanta is the best super speedway on the schedule. Like I'm to the point where I'm not looking forward to Talladega. Daytona and Talladega have become crapshoots. Atlanta, less so. Atlanta feels like what Daytona was 15, 20 years ago. And so it's, I'm almost like, can we reprofile Talladega into 1.5 miles and turn Texas into Atlanta? Like, like just, if this was like Minecraft and I could just build whatever I wanted, that's what I would be building right now.
Apartment building would look great right there. Let me tell you.
Oh my God.
Unfortunately, you're Eric. You're not Steve.
So big picture is, Talladega and Daytona, I don't think are going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
So in that respect, I don't want any super speedway. Even if it's another really good Atlanta style super speedway, I just don't want any more of it because, like you said, Jared, it's so hard to take these races seriously nowadays when so much of the finishing results are beyond the driver's control. Like the cars are gridlocked. so much of your finishing position is dependent on how much fuel you might have saved, where your pit crew got you out. And if you get the right push at the right time and don't have someone in front of you throw a bad block, like there's just, you're susceptible to so many other people's mistakes at super speedways. How do you control your own destiny? More times than not, you really can't. So 6 is already pushing it. We don't need 7 or 8 of those types of races. It hurts the legitimacy week to week even more. And yeah, I'm with you. Texas, as what they should have done to Texas, what they did to Atlanta. That should have done that at the very beginning. They didn't. I don't want them to hypothetically try to what's the word? Like 2 wrongs don't make a right. Like don't double down on it now. It's too late. It's too late to double down.
I'm just wondering too, like, because we know Atlanta's wearing down. Like, if you look at it, the first race at Atlanta and the pavement, like just the color of the pavement compared to now, like it is a night and day difference. Like, it's so much darker back then, and so it's like we're kind of like already understand that at a certain point, like unless they make these guys run 130 miles an hour, like that 2018 All-Star race or whichever one it was, which was like just
which they
like crawling.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like I don't think it's going to last, another 3 to 5 years in the form it's at now. I'm just wondering if this is the direction, especially it sounds like if it's SMI doing this, like if they do this every couple of years with a new intermediate, like what's the racing going to be like at those intermediates after the fact? It's going to be more heavily banked, but it's also narrower. Denny Hamlin talked about it. Atlanta is more narrow now because they basically cut the bottom groove off to add banking.
They pushed it in to create the banking in a way. Yeah, it's an interesting idea, because if Atlanta becomes more like a normal intermediate, then now you can make Texas, for example, the super speedway. But there's no guarantee Atlanta will end up that way.
But then if Atlanta is so narrow, like how much can you really move around? Is it going to be more air blocking? We've already seen the intermediate racing diminish a little bit. So it's just like, I don't know. If I feel like SMI does what SMI does so often, is where they make a short-term fix and never think of the repercussions in the long term for it. It's like when they talked about North Wilkesboro being a 10-year plan and the North Carolina state government in on it. I'm like, well, that doesn't sound like they made that plan. It sounds like the state government made that plan.
I love the whole chat is just spamming Minecraft memes now. What did we say earlier about feeling old on the internet? It's happening again.
Minecraft, Papa, Minecraft.
Oh, Jarrett. We'll move on to one other rumor here. This one came from the NASCAR Rumor Nostalgia Instagram page. So again, no disrespect to NASCAR Rumors Nostalgia. Yes, this is reckless speculation. I don't mean to doubt the source of these rumors we're discussing, but they are. This isn't Bob tweeting about these things. Let me put it that way. But there's a rumor out there that GMS Racing may be returning to the Craftsman Truck Series with Spencer Gallagher as the driver, and they might be the ones to bring Dodge or Ram, let's say, into the Craftsman Truck Series next year. Now, it's important to remember that Maury Gallagher, who is was the owner kind of GMS, he has sold off his stake of Legacy Motor Club. I don't know if he sold off the entire stake or the vast majority of it. He is no longer a key figure at Legacy Motor Club. So that could potentially free up capital, time to go revamp the Truck Series operation. It's a rumor. There are valid reports of Ram returning to trucks next year. Could this be one of the teams they do it with? That remains to be seen. But Spencer Gallagher, where did we leave Spencer Gallagher? Where did he leave?
Already in like 1999.
He left seeing things in the clouds. That's basically all I can understand about it.
And let me check something. I thought I saw something recently about, there was a report that he's going to run an ARCA race. I'm pulling this up as we speak. He is expected to run an ARCA race. Oh, at Rockingham.
Heard his name. Okay.
April 19th, it says.
Hearing his name makes me feel like Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, there's a name I haven't heard in a long, long time.
We remember the fight. Was it at Gateway? He got into that wrestling match in turns 1 and 2.
Oh my God!
Classic.
You just unlocked a core memory there.
Who is it? Who was he fighting with? Who was? I don't even know.
John
West.
Oh, that's right. Gosh, what a combo. So I will say this. I think adds some fuel to the fire of this rumor that he's coming out of nowhere to run an ARCA race this week. Yeah, that suggests that maybe the Gallaghers are ramping up for something bigger in the not so distant future. Will it include Ram?
I mean, Maury Gallagher, the move to Cup just did not work out in his favor. I guess he's still pretty involved in Allegiant Airlines. Allegiant Airlines have never flown with them, but they seem to be doing fairly okay as a company.
Do they still are they still the title sponsors of the Vegas Stadium, the hockey puck?
I believe so.
The Allegiant Stadium. I've only driven by that stadium, but it looks gorgeous. But I mean, Cup didn't work out from a competitive standpoint, but I mean, he bought in when the charters were probably priced around here, and then sold off his stake when the charters were priced up about here. So I bet he actually made out okay.
When you think
stadium,
when you think GMS though, like it just seems like they were much better fit for the Truck Series, and it was the wrong move to really get out of their comfort zone. It'd be like Four Sports suddenly saying, "I want Cup," and they just do horrible.
Yeah, from a competitive standpoint, they never had it in the Cup Series, even with the petty GMS sort of combo. They were never a factor.
I actually got when I was on the grid at Bristol for the truck race, there was a guy he saw my Furniture Row jacket, and he pulled me over and he was like, two best bosses I ever had were Joe Garone and Murray Gallagher, because he worked for Furniture Row, and then when they bailed, he jumped ship to GMS. So shout out to that guy. I'm sorry I didn't get your name, but he went out a champion and then almost a champion, which is
a strong endorsement there from a stranger talking about Maury Gallagher. Exactly. So that's kind of all right. We'll see. Well, those are some of the most interesting rumors this week. It's an off week, so we got to talk about some rumblings. Got to fill the air somehow, some way. But Jarrett, you're back just in time for our first, as we like to call it, our first fun segment, the accountability segment.
Yes. So we will each make 2 NASCAR, motorsports, or show-related predictions. Each one will be kept track of in our accountability session, and we'll try and keep them concise, though no promises. And we'll do it in the order of the standings, then guess. That way we don't have to put all the pressure on you right off the bat, Connor. So let's get to our accountability here. It was not a good week for any of us. I'm just going to tell you now. I said Martinsville's 2.422 million viewers would be the smallest FS1 audience for a scheduled 2025 points race. And then the master said, hold my beer. Damn. Eric said Ty Gibbs would not score a top 5 between Martinsville and the All-Star race.
Oh, I forgot about that one. Yep. Brutal.
And then said
lasted a good handful of weeks.
And then said Jesse Love would score a top 25 in his Cup debut. He did not.
I think he was 30th, right? 30 something.
30th, 31st, somewhere in there.
He's going to be running a few more races, actually, in the 62.
Yes. Yeah, just announced earlier this afternoon.
And then Danny said this was the one that we had to carry over from a week ago, that we would not go under a tornado warning. We did. And then you can tell me if I'm wrong. I did not see it, but I could be wrong.
I should have put it in the group chat. No, they did show the Tony Bro during a montage just before or right after the command, I think.
Okay. So then
maybe just before.
So then then at the moment I will quickly do a little math then. So Danny did get that one right, which means that the next segment will be a little off. So I'm at 36.84%, Eric at 30.77%, and Danny at 26.09% now, not 21.73%. So there is that. So my bad on that one.
Funny how much of a difference that makes, actually.
Yeah. And then the all-time prediction percentages, I'm at 41.44, Eric at 31.58, Danny will be at 30.08 after that. So that's on me.
I love the banner going around Bristol where it shows all the cool moments, like Darrell Waltrip, 7 wins in a row, Dale Earnhardt wins, Kyle Busch sweep, and then it's just Tony Stewart helmet throw. That's awesome.
That's right.
Wow. I didn't know it had a banner. That's insane.
You could say you should maybe hang the banner.
Oh, even what you were waiting.
Oh my gosh! How long have you had that?
Didn't know you made that.
I put it on earlier for like 3 seconds when somebody said something, and then
I swear I didn't know he was going to do that.
Yeah, that's crazy. Teed it up and he hit I won't call it a homer. I'll call it a ground rule double.
I like how he's got it in yellow,
A
so
layup.
it's like a caution for hanging the banner.
All right. Well, let me lead us off here.
Go for it. What's your first prediction?
My first prediction is that Casey Kane will lead one or more laps. I think he'll lead laps in this race. I get that people are going to be like, oh, that's a lap. Dude has not raced in any sort of NASCAR sanctioned race, I think, since what, 2019? He's,
Yeah, probably.
Let's not say that he's going to be as up to speed as a lot of these others. I don't think this is a layup.
I think he was top 10 in single car speeds during that test a few weeks back. I will say that.
Yeah.
Thing is, those JRM cars have been fast lately.
I was going to say that one too, so it's a good thing I brought 3 just in case.
Who's my next?
Yes.
I think I had a prediction a few weeks ago that Kane will get a top 5. So I'm really riding with Casey. It's Casey Kane Friday, Saturday. It's all every day is Casey Kane day this week. My first prediction, it's a repave. Drivers have said it's going to be, oh my God, Jarrett with the graphics today.
I didn't have that one.
That was me.
Oh, that was Connor put that up? What?
Yeah.
How did he do that?
I realized I had
Wait, how?
I was put that.
There we go. How did he hijack
Wait,
our,
am I allowed? Is that
stream?
allowed?
That's fine. That is
Okay.
great.
All right, cool.
We encourage this.
How did he
Awesome.
put that? How did he do this?
Just don't play the music because we can't have that part.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
you're
copyright.
rolling.
What was I saying? Rockingham to repave. It's going to be sketchy. A lot of drivers have already said it's really fast. I talked to Brennan Poole about it. He said it could be the craziest race of the year. I'm betting there will be 9 or more cautions in the Xfinity race,
Including stages.
Yeah, I'll include stages in that.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
Mm-hmm. Danny, I think you're next.
I did not take. We did not take all of them on that one. There's at least 2 left, right?
Yeah, I have 2 still. And I just wanted to verify this so I know how to verb this correctly. So every race, every Cup Series race that Alex Bowman scores the pole award in 2025 will be won by Kyle Larson. I had to go back and make sure I specified a series because he did have the pole award in the Xfinity race at Phoenix, and Eric Almirola won that one. So, but need to clarify in the Cup Series.
So if he goes on like a Ryan Newman type run, Kyle Larson.
If he goes on a Ryan Newman run, then Kyle Larson is in for a treat.
Then Kyle Larson goes on a Jimmy Johnson run.
So that's risky. I could be setting up that Bowman goes on the greatest qualifying runs of all time, and somehow Larson doesn't win all those, or I could say that he doesn't get another pole award the entire year, and I'm correct.
You'd still be right. Yeah.
Connor, what's your first prediction?
I didn't come prepared, but I'll say that I think with the speed they showed at Bristol, I'm going to go Truck Series for mine. I think Caden Honeycutt is going to get a top 5 in Rockingham.
I actually considered,
because he was a bit of a sleeper. Like Bailey Curry was up right at the front, but Honeycutt was running top 10, almost broke into the top 5. I think he's got a good shot.
He ran well at Martinsville, which is a short track, not really like Rockingham, but there's some similarity there. Apologies, we did not prepare Connor for this. That's on us. That was a good poll.
Yeah,
right
we
there.
just have you do one, then just have one really good one if you want.
I could do another one if you want.
All right, well, he's got a minute to think.
Like.
He's got a minute to think of his second one. Jarrett, hit us with your second prediction.
I'm gonna go with this one. Just because you don't know, especially if this is rock bottom or not. I think the Bristol night race will get under 35% positive in September.
Now,
we had 19. Yeah, in my poll. 19% is well below like even the bad that we usually get. So I think that 35% or lower, I'll say lower than 35% just to make it, even more. I think it's going to be terrible. I think it's going to be the same damn thing. And whoever's last in pick points, God bless you. You're going to get Kyle Larson for that one. And it's going to be off and away.
My final prediction, going back to our earlier comments about, I forget how we brought this up. Somehow I think I mentioned Ty Gibbs dressing like Ralphie Easter Bunny costume from the Christmas Story movie. I predict that at some point in the next week on social media, a Cup Series driver will appear on social media in a bunny costume.
I could see it.
You know what? I
As
think it's
many
Bubba.
drivers as
Bubba just became a dad, so like I
I was about to say, as many drivers as there is with young kids, I could see it.
I could also see it. Kyle Busch, Maniac.
Ooh, Chase Briscoe, maybe.
Briscoe's a good pick. I'm just saying, I think there's like your point. There's a lot of drivers with young kids. I could see someone posing as the Easter Bunny on Instagram somewhere. So I'll keep an eye out for that
Ooh,
one.
Noah
Tyler
Gragson,
Reddick?
just for the hell of it. I feel like that's something he'd do.
It's going to be a driver with no kids that does it. That's the weird part.
It'd be a little-
Noah does it, and the Easter Bunny's drunk. He had a couple of beers.
That's just a guy in the truck series.
Next one before we get too far down this road.
She just added a ton to her schedule, and I feel like this is my third one for a reason. It's probably pushing it, but I will say Catherine Legg will get at least one finish in a top 25 this season in any of the NASCAR series she competes in. She has only been in the 30 range, so that's taking a gamble on her. But maybe one.
She's
how many
running
how many road courses is she going to be running?
I think Mexico Cup is the only one she's announced.
Decent amount, but she's also going to be in some Xfinity series. She's in the Xfinity series this weekend, so you never know what'll happen.
I like it. What do you
Do you have a final one, Connor?
Jesse Love is going to win 7 Cup championships.
Oh my God! All right, we should have just cut him
He's
off.
the new
first one.
Riley Herbst.
Oh geez, Jesse Love, huh? All right, okay.
I saw him win when he was 15 at Colorado National Speedway. Dude was younger than me, which was kind of crazy. I was still in high school. Right then I was like, you know what? That's the next Earnhardt right there. He's about
Chad
to
just
lay
said
waste.
ban him.
These are the
Just
same
wait,
people.
just watch.
These are the same people in the same chat that were saying Riley Herbst is the next Jimmy Johnson.
Noah in the chat says, "Make room, Riley Herbst."
I like that.
Someone said, "Didn't he do this with Connor Zilich last time?" Did you do this last time?
Yeah, I'm doubling
Shameless.
down.
All right. Well, I like the consistency. Well, that was our prediction segment. Next week, we will hold ourselves accountable and see what we got right, what we got wrong. But now it's time for our guest's favorite segment here, Random Driver of the Week. Jarrett is going to try and stump us. He has picked a random NASCAR driver from any series, any time in history. Going to give us. Connor's already gone. He's already gone to the history, but he's ready to pull this thing out of nowhere.
What is he getting?
I'm explaining how this works, but Jarrett could probably do a better job than this. He's got some clues for us. We have 3 chances to guess. Oh my gosh, he's got the championship hat on, dude.
Thought I should grab this for this segment here.
All right, Jared.
It's better than my shirt. You want to see my shirt?
Yeah, why not?
I just signed a deal today.
Wow.
Make sure you guys get your lawnmower Manscaped. There we go.
It reminds me. Now
they're gonna owe us money for you doing that. Come on now.
Exactly,
it reminds me of back in the day, the old I Heart Boobies bracelets that we used to wear in school. Like
that was a thing.
Oh God, yeah, you might be too young to remember those.
Jared, again, we are 60 years old in internet
you guys are,
years.
You're all unks to me.
Well, this is like if this is 4th or 5th grade for me, that's like 2007 or 8.
So we were more about silly bands. Did you ever do
silly bands?
Yeah.
Yes.
I literally turned 30 this year, so in internet terms, I must be.
You're done.
Why are you here?
I remember the silly bands.
Silly bands.
People got in trouble for that in my school.
So
I think they banned them at our school eventually.
So getting to the random driver of the week. My bad. I went off on a tangent a little on the boopies. Danny is leading Eric now 20-19.
This is crap. Time. This is cheeks.
They just keep going back and forth, man. And so Danny has the last 2. Last week he got Rob Moroso, week before Cuckoo Marlin. Eric was on 3 in a row with Tim Flock, John Hunter Nemechek, and Bobby Allison.
I got the really easy one. Did you notice? I got all the like really mainstream drivers. Danny's over here pulling pulling Rob Moroso out. I'm like, no, give me something I know, like John Hunter Nemechek.
Was your clue for Tim Flock like, oh, this driver had a monkey in the car?
That the last clue was monkey.
To my credit, I got it before then, I think.
Nice.
Rob Moroso was such a hard one because like I knew in the back of my mind, I was like, I see that 20 Crown car and I know sad story, but I just could not remember the name until right at the very end.
Basically, what I'm saying, Jared, is I hope you gave us an easy one this week because then I have a chance.
We'll see. I
I
got
gotta
the
turn the chat. Hold on,
sounders
I gotta
ready.
turn the chat off. The chat's already
Yes.
guessing.
No cheating. Please
Let me
turn
turn
the
the-
chat off.
How did I
Turning the
have
chat off.
anything to guess on?
They're already guessing. Okay, I'm turning it off.
Well, remember until I had to, because we're not going to redo any, so I can say this. Remember when, for the longest time before I finally used that driver as random driver, they would always guess Cale Gale before the show.
What a good pick.
All right, let's get going here. This random driver is a California native. Connor, if you want to beat Eric's record, here's your chance in the first one or two.
Yeah, never mind Eric beating my record. Let's just
You got three. Y'all got three guesses. So if you want to beat it, here you got the first two here.
California.
And this random driver's first ARCA start was at the Nashville Fairgrounds.
Kevin Harvick. I'll throw a guess out there.
Well, no.
All right.
So that's
I
one
was
off the board.
playing defense. Sorry, I had to try.
This random driver's father was a dirt bike racer.
Oh
Jimmy
my God.
Johnson.
What?
Jimmy Johnson.
That one we have done before.
I bricked that so badly.
Oh, wait. When did we do Jimmy? I don't even remember doing Jimmy.
Jimmy was like the first or second driver.
Oh,
That was
well, that would explain why.
that was Darian won that one according to the past results.
Well, this random driver's grandfather was a late model racer as well.
Haley Deegan.
Is that a guess?
Yeah, why not?
Well, Eric, that guess is wrong.
All right,
Jeez,
now I got-
you have one more guess.
Connor's here. I got to be aggressive, man. I can't let him scoop another one out from under us. All right, I'm playing it safe now. I'm zipping it up.
This random driver's favorite band is Florida Georgia Line.
Okay.
They're probably kind of on the clear side, didn't they? Like that.
Been very vocal before about liking that band. This random driver has been tweeted about twice by me, 7 times by Danny, never by Connor, and 25 times by Eric.
What the?
Ooh, sorry, guys. I'm kind of a big fan, actually.
This random driver uploads weekly videos on YouTube.
Was it really not Haley Deegan? Is that really hard? That feels like it's right in the wheelhouse. Okay.
From,
All right.
from
Now I really feel like
California.
I should know this.
This random driver is an ARCA champion.
Oh my God.
Sure you don't want to shoot another one out there, Eric?
No, I got to play it a little safe now. These two seem a little quiet, so I think I can wait.
I'm struggling to think of what drivers are posting from California every week.
I got a few. I got some ideas. I don't know if they're from California, but I can think of some guys who are posting, guys and girls.
This random driver also has 4 career ARCA wins.
But they are an ARCA champion.
Yes. Just watching the gears turn is so great.
Give us another one, Jarrett.
This random driver, let's see, has 1 Cup start to their name.
Oh, I think I know it, but I'm so scared to guess.
This random driver's
Jesse
Cup
Love.
start. Jesse Love.
Jesse Love.
Danny. You're wrong.
That's more. I don't really know where he's from, but I know he's won ARCA before.
I think he's from California, isn't he? I don't know.
This random driver's lone Cup start was a 29th place finish.
If I would have shut up, I would have got my result there.
Hey, that's the game, man. This random driver has won a gold and silver medal in the X Games.
I have to. It's Sheldon Creed, right? It has to be Sheldon Creed.
Well, Eric, correct. It is Sheldon Creed.
Posts on YouTube?
Yes, I think he does.
I gotta look
Weekly.
up his channel. I gotta subscribe.
Yes, that is it was Sheldon Creed. So we are now tied up, Danny and Eric 2020. Trying to see some other fun clues.
Let me pull up the chat. I assume they got it a while ago. Oh my God, I pull up the chat and I see a super chat that said Eric tweets about Sheldon Creed every time he finishes second. That's crazy.
I don't think I knew about him in X Games, honestly.
Yeah, that was one that because he'd raced stadium super trucks.
Yeah, he's super. He'd done all like
okay.
because you mentioned at the beginning that either he or his dad or somebody was like in dirt bikes and off road stuff.
Yes.
Like, I don't know that honestly, you said that and I thought Deegan, and then after I sat on it for a minute and you said a couple other clues, I was like, wait, this could be like a Creed. I think the ARCA success. I was like, oh, I think this might be Sheldon Creed.
Oh, I forgot he drove for Live Fast. Yeah.
Yep. In the 78 car at Kansas, I believe. I think I was there
I
for
really
that
should have
one.
remembered that.
Think Whalen was the sponsor for it.
Yep.
I think so, yeah. Because I think I'm pretty sure it was the fall Kansas race. And if so, I would have been at that race. So yeah, we keep evening it up every single week. It's now 20-20. Both of the co-hosts here, Eric and Danny, tied. So
Nice.
I will say, the guests have been on a bit of a slide lately. I can't remember the last time the guests got one right.
It might have been Connor.
Sorry,
I think it
America.
might have
I
been.
let you down.
So he's very vocal about Florida Georgia line, huh?
Yeah, big fan.
I could believe it. He looks like
This is
he just
how we
strikes
roll.
me as someone to be a
This is
fan.
how we roll.
Well, funny story. I don't know if my uncle wants me telling this, but it's not a bad story. My uncle was at the Chicago street race last year because they sponsored a car, and he was waiting in line to go to the bathroom right as they were starting to fire up the engines, and he looks behind him, and there is Sheldon Creed standing there waiting behind him, and he's like, "Hey, go ahead of me really quick," like because they're starting to roll, and he's like, "Oh, no problem." He's like, "No, you have more important places to be. Like you just." I can wait.
Oh my God.
Barry's like, "Oh, thank you." And then he sprints back out, and he's like, "Ever since then, my uncle Jade is now a Sheldon Creed fan." So
That's cool.
Wow.
Poor guy saw him before he was going to go number 2, and now he's always number 2.
Oh.
That joke was cheeks.
This is
Was that
fun.
it?
We're having fun.
Be good. Well, this has been a fun segment. But I think now, folks, it's time to talk a little Rockingham Speedway. We've got Trucks and Xfinity Friday, Saturday, a few weekend notes before we get into it here. Obviously, it's Easter weekend, not racing on Easter Sunday. However, the Xfinity race for Saturday, the grandstands are sold out for that race. Truck Series, I believe, still has some tickets available for Friday. Casey Kane is running the Xfinity race in, stay with me here, the HendrickCars.com sponsored Richard Childress Racing number 33. So keep that. Sammy Smith is running the truck race in a Spire truck in the 07 Larson just ran. So I think Brandon Jones is also, if I need to double check, I believe Brandon Jones also in the truck field in the one after last.
Is he back in the Razorbacks truck, or is it something else this week?
Someone pull up the entry list to confirm. I don't know, but
he is in it. I don't know what I don't know what a sponsor is.
Truck race on Friday is the Black's Tire 200 laps. Stage breakdown is 45, 110. Starts at 5 o'clock Eastern time on FS1, also on MRN and Sirius. The purse is $782,000. And the weather looks great. A little warm, 83 degrees, only an 8% chance of rain. Hope y'all have fun Friday night. Saturday, the Xfinity race. Bear with me once again. The North Carolina Education Lottery 250 presented by Black's Tire. It is a 250 lap race. 60, 60, 130 are the stage breakdowns. Starts at 4 o'clock Eastern on the CW, also on MRN, also on Sirius. Purse is $1.6 million, and the weather again, mid 80s, 7% chance of rain. Interesting. I forgot to mention this, but the defending winner of the truck race at Rockingham, you got to go back to 2013. It was Kyle Larson, a young Kyle Larson. And for the Xfinity race, their last race at Rockingham was in 2004. Y'all know who won that one? Jamie McMurray, who basically owned Throwback Weekend a couple weeks ago. Half the field seemed to be throwing it back to Jamie McMurray's scheme. So fitting that he would be the defending Rockingham race winner. Jarrett, do you have the pick points ready? Little update of the standings. I'm holding on just barely, folks. He got a lot closer after a rough weekend for me at Bristol. I have 150 pick points. Chat is only 5 points out. Danny -7, and Jarrett fourth place -16. Still all within striking distance. No cup points on the line for this weekend, so it's going to be a little harder for any big movers and shakers, but still valuable positions to be gained, to be lost. And Connor, because you're here and you're the guest, you have the chance to swipe the first pick for each race. We're going to add a couple segments we don't typically add here. We're going to do a truck and Xfinity suck and dark horse pick in addition to our usual win pick.
Shoot.
Oh, I don't know. Are we only doing it for Xfinity? We can
I
we
thought
can
we were
just do
doing
it
it
for
for
Xfinity.
Xfinity. Yeah.
We're only doing it for Xfinity. That was what
right.
was wrote down. And
Screw the truck series. Then we're not talking about who's going to suck there. Then we'll just start with who's going to win the truck race Friday night.
Casey Kane is racing. He's the main event. Dang it.
Yes, I'm just fixated on Casey Kane Saturday. All right. So Connor, you lead us off. Who's going to win the truck race Friday night?
I'm gonna go with eeny, meeny, miny, Norm Benning. I don't know.
Good pick. I like it. Moving on.
Write it in.
Okay. Dude, I get to put Norm Benning on a graphic for once. Hell yeah.
This is huge.
If that's
This is
serious,
huge.
yeah, go for it. But
This is a huge deal for Jarrett. Dang it.
Wow, you're officially our Jarrett's favorite guest here, Connor, with that pick right there.
I'm sorry, Connor. That's about as bad as a chat taking Kevin LePage. He wasn't even racing.
was it the chat or was it? Yeah, that's right. It was because we're like, hey, if you guys don't take this serious, we're just going to give you Kevin LePage. And they kept putting LePage, and we're like, you know what? Fine, Kevin LePage for you. And ever since the chat is like, they've been very serious.
Yes.
So I'm going to go with Heim time. Corey Heim is my pick to win the truck race.
Lame.
That's fine. I actually get who was my number one pick, and that is Lane Riggs.
He's going to be tough.
Lame.
No, Lane.
No, Lane.
Boo Earns. Boo Earns.
You're right. Chat, who do you guys got?
I think they're going
the chat wanted Lane Riggs. I know that.
Looks like chat's going Majeski.
That was my number 3 pick, so that's a good one.
Yeah, you guys literally took my 1, 2, and 3 pick in order, minus Norm.
Oh, you had Norm Benning too? Yeah.
I did not have Norm in my top 5. So I guess I'll go with my 4th pick. Excuse me.
Okay, Norm wasn't there.
I picked him last week to win Bristol, and he was running really well. Worked his way into the top 5 before he got caught up in a crash. Hopefully, second time's the charm. Brandon Jones dipping down to the truck series.
And he's in the 1, right?
He is in the Tricon 1. Yes.
Awesome. I need that for the graphics on Friday.
So now, apologies for not following the script earlier. We will go to the Xfinity Series race, beginning with our Who's Gonna Suck at Rockingham this weekend. Connor, we'll start things off with you.
I'm just doing this on the fly. Man, I love adding fuel to the flame. I'm going to say Casey Kane.
Oh, my God.
I like the boldness.
I don't know that he's going to do as good as people think he is. I love Casey Kane. It's Casey Kane Friday. Well, no, but it
you don't have to lie. You can say you can hate all you want. You can be honest.
I am Casey Kane. I love Casey Kane, but I just don't know if it's going to go that well.
I'm so glad he came prepared with that. That's great. Who's next? Jarrett, you're next.
Chris Wright.
Oh my
I'm
God,
going to take the layup.
The chat's go with Chris Wright too. Sorry, Danny. Who's your pick?
I'm going up the other layup, Catherine Legg.
I was going to go a little outside the box and say Justin Bonsignor in the 19 car. I respect great modified racer. Just, I don't know. He was kind of
a great name,
good driver at what he does, but the transition to stock cars is not easy. He was like 20th all day at Bristol.
I'll never forget. I haven't done a lot of iRacing, but he did wreck me at Daytona once. I'll never forget it.
Never forget, never forgive.
It started Danny's villain arc.
Yeah. Who's the dark horse pick? We'll be a little more positive now. Who's maybe a surprising underdog in the Xfinity race, Connor?
No, I'm just kidding. I'll go with a real one. I think. Would it be dark horse to say Nick Sanchez?
No.
No,
I think he
I
ran.
think it's dark horse. Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd
yeah.
be
I
good.
think he's run pretty good, and I think this is like it's kind of a bit of a wild card because nobody really knows what's going to happen. We don't really have a ton to go off of here, but I think just how the track drives and how similar it will be to how the Truck Series usually races. I don't know. I think Nick Sanchez could have a good run, and Ryan Sieg too. But my official lock is Nick Sanchez.
Yeah, you guys can if you guys say this isn't a dark horse just because he's better now, let me know. But I was going to go Ryan Sieg for mine. If not, I'll go
No,
Kyle Sieg.
that's an underdog in my
It's an
opinion.
underdog like win pick because he's done everything but win at this point. So
Yeah, I mean that 39. My question coming into the season, and they have answered it very well, is like, is the 39 team going to continue what they did last year, which was like exceed expectations, compete for a couple wins, get better as the year went on? And I was worried because of the whole Stuart Haas thing, but Haas has kept up really well, and Ryan Sieg right now is 42 points in the cut line. So
yeah, that's pretty good.
yeah.
Danny, did you make a dark horse pick?
I have not yet. I don't think he's gonna win. I think he will lead laps, but I don't think he'll win. So I'll just say Casey Kane. I hope he has a good race. I don't see him winning though.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Chat is kind of split between Sieg and Brennan Poole. We're allowed to duplicate if we want to give him Sieg, want to give him Poole. Obviously, I'm good buddies with Brennan Poole, and he's punched above his weight pretty much all season long. Bristol was obviously really disappointing, but I mean, it is what it is. What are you going to do? I think Brennan will probably run top 15. I do know that both of the main Alpha Prime racing cars were really good during that test. Now, granted, that was a test. Who knows what everyone was trying, but Poole and Retzloff were top 5 in single car speeds a month ago, whenever that was. So those are two guys to root for. I guess I got to say Brendan Poole then. How often do I get to pick Brendan Poole on the NASCAR Weekly podcast? Good stuff. But now's where the points really get paid out here. Who's going to win the Xfinity Series Rockingham Speedway return? Connor, do you have a selection?
Oh, look who's on the screen. That's Justin Allgaier. I'm going to choose Justin Allgaier.
Of course you will.
Because he doesn't have Larson in his way this week.
I'm pretty sure. Raise your hand if that was your number 1 pick.
He was my number 2. But yes.
I wonder maybe if I can snipe Eric's number 1.
Don't,
because I think this guy is.
Don't.
I think this guy has way more upside. He finished ahead of him this past week. I'm going to go Carson Kvapil.
Oh, that's not who that. Never mind. That was not my number 1. He was my number 5.
No shit. Really? That low?
Yeah. I mean,
Carson Kvapil was the only one that was in the Xfinity series that could actually hold a candle to and pass Allgaier. He finished second to Larson.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, all the JRM cars were so good as well. Sammy Smith was 3rd, 4th all day.
Yep.
That was that's not a bad pick. But Kvapil also has not been great outside of Coda and Bristol. I'd have to look at the numbers, but I don't feel like he's
didn't he win Dover last year, which is a mile track similar to Rockingham?
Good point. I'm just looking at this season. That's fair. It's not a bad pick. I had him 5th, just didn't have him 1 or 2.
Then let's see if I can take his pick. Is this your card? I'm gonna go with Connor Zilish this week.
Fair enough. Good pick. Good pick. Also in my top 5. Chat. Oh my gosh, I think they're gonna do it.
It's a landslide.
They're gonna go Casey Kane on a Wednesday.
Casey Kane. Mark in the chat says Chad is blowing it with the 33 pick. Wow.
Oh no, it froze.
Finally, it's Casey Kane Wednesday.
It's Casey Kane Friday on a Saturday. It's like
we have
choppy.
like 2003 360p Casey Kane Friday now.
Yeah, this is like 2005 throwback here with the choppiness.
Instead of hearing like high quality music, it's like echoed. Sounds more like
Truex won that race. My bad. Thank you, Noah Coleman in the chat. I know Kvapil was up front though.
I got a couple of tough choices here. This. I'm gonna go out on a limb on this one. I don't know what he's done at mile tracks. I don't even know where he ran at Bristol. I think he was like 6th or something. I don't even know. Give me Taylor Gray.
Okay.
I like Taylor Gray. Feeling
I
good.
mean, I'll say this: Taylor Gray has proven a lot of us wrong. Who are like, why the hell is he in this car? He's been decent.
I mean, the JGR Xfinity lineup was full of, it's like Sawalich, we know he's there. We know why he's there. Brandon Jones.
No. Sometimes we don't know he's there. We forget he's there sometimes.
Yes. I mean, Brandon Jones, I mean, he won this a couple weeks ago. Like, he's a fine enough driver, but like, we know why he's there. Taylor Gray, I feel like, is kind of the exception. Like, obviously, he's got some funding, racing family connections, and all that, but he's done well. He had some standout moments in trucks. He's already had some great moments in Xfinity where it looks like he could really compete. So I feel good about maybe Taylor Gray sniping this one. Guy I had in my top 5, nobody picked, was Sam Mayer. I know he's kind of a loose cannon, or he's kind of hard to like rely on, but he's had speed the last few weeks.
Had Jarrett took Connor Zilish, Sam Mayer was my number 3 pick.
Yeah.
I picked Sam this week, and it did not work for me.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm hesitant to pick him though. Definitely hesitant to pick his teammate Sheldon Creed, but I'm hesitant to pick him because I'm like, I just don't know when that team is going to finally be able to strike, the iron.
I know that took a chance last week. It did not work.
Side note: did you guys see that Cole Custer is going to be running a Texas A&M car again?
Yeah, I saw that.
Or not him again, but the team will have them back again.
Yeah,
and he's running it. Where's he running it at? I forget where they said.
Not Texas, I don't think so.
No, it was some random other track. It might have been like.
Is it Talladega?
I don't remember where they said it was, but it was not anywhere near Texas, which was like kind of interesting.
But bold strategy by Arkansas to advertise at Bristol and Texas A&M to advertise outside of Texas. Maybe they're trying to get out-of-state people, I guess.
And out-of-state tuition pays good, I guess.
Bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how that pays off for him.
Connor, can you still hear us? We know you're a little blurry there.
Yeah, I could hear you. I got you just fine. Everything's so fuzzy.
Okay, well, we're going to break into our final Super Chat stage break, so fingers crossed the fuzziness dissipates before long. But we've got some Super Chats to wrap up with. Thank you all so much for the support tonight. Let's see where you guys have been steering the conversation this evening. We left off here with A Prada. What's the over-under that NASCAR dramatically increases the horsepower and changes the aero package in 2026? I'd say it's less than a 20% chance they do.
Oh, I go less.
Dramatically changes things, I would say is probably less, but yeah, I'd go 10-15%. M Martin fan for life. They love to wreck tracks, reconfigure Bristol, Texas, Atlanta, in my opinion, ruined each of them. The car only magnifies it. This will take a long time to fix. Please, no more super speedways. I mean, yeah, Bristol and Texas, you could definitely argue they've changed them for the worst. Atlanta, even if you don't like super speedways, it has become the best super speedway. So I'll give Atlanta some credit. But yes, SMI loves to dabble with their tracks. They've hit on some, they've whiffed on many others. The Roval, Bristol Dirt, they've experimented. I'll give them credit for that. Rowdy8 Diecast says, we need a permanent dirt track on the schedule. My vote is for Williams Grove in South Central PA. Perfect way to get into a relatively untapped market. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that facility. I have no idea what the amenities are like.
Kiss and make up. Tony's not an owner anymore.
I know. Eldora is the one that makes the most sense from just the venue itself. But yeah, I don't know where the drama stands with Eldora and all.
I feel like the big thing people miss about the dirt track, because I would love to see us go to a genuine dirt track, but you need facilities that'll keep up with the Cup Series, which it's not what it was 20 years ago, but you still need a lot of grandstands and a lot of parking and a lot of everything.
Or you just need to accept that it's going to be a smaller scale race. And it's like, do you want to, like, when you can sell 50,000 tickets at X, do we really want to go to Y? Like, you have to, maybe they like Bowman Gray only sold 17,000 tickets, whatever it was, but it was worth it to go there. Maybe it's worth it to do it for a dirt race. I don't know.
Well, and the other problem is just there's not many dirt tracks that can hold that many cars too.
Like, yeah, you need like a half mile probably at least.
Well, we tried Knoxville and look what happened. I mean, it was one of the most boring races I think any of us have seen in the Truck Series when it wasn't a fiasco. It's just,
fiasco. That's a good word.
Fiasco was not even catching the flip on camera.
Oh my God.
Danny, about that.
Was that one of the races that we watched over at your house? Where like, how did they not catch it? I swear we were like at the same place for that race. whether it was we were at yours or mine, I can't remember, but it was like
I think I was at Planet Fitness that night, so I don't know.
I just remember that was bafflingly bad.
Peak FS1 trucks moment there.
I remember being at the gym and seeing something about the flip that night.
Yeah, you're probably right. I probably
I think I saw somebody made like an artist rendering, and it was just like a pencil drawing of a truck upside down.
That's right.
Yeah, that's great. A stop motion flip book. Here's what it may have looked like.
The post-it note.
Yeah.
It's like, believe it or not, this is also what the Elliott Sadler one looked like at Pocono in 2010.
Lost footage. It's just stone tablets. All sports all day. Thank you for the super chat. New Hampshire leaves everything open early in the week. I've walked and ridden my bike around it multiple times, climbed the spotters stand as well. That's pretty cool. Again, if someone tells you to leave, but if the gate's open, check it out. Just leave it how you found it. That's all we can say here on NWP. GN NASCAR fan says, went to Las Vegas last month. Me and my dad got into the truck race grandstands. We did have tickets. Going through the RV area in turn 4 without scanning in. Gosh, everyone's finding all these sneaky ways to. All the secrets are being spilled here. The tracks are going to listen to this and update their security.
I'll give another one. So you remember 2022 Talladega, Eric, me and Riss were in the infield with you, and we were looking at all the different stuff and all that. Well, we got the last tram out before the race started, but by the time it's a big ass track, so by the time we get back around, they're already like 5-6 races in, and the security that was checking people in, they're all like college volunteers, and so we come up, we're like pulling out our tickets, or they just wave us in. So if you're willing to miss like the first 5 to 10 laps, go in the turn 4 gate at Talladega. They'll let you right in. You don't have to buy a ticket. You just might have to get parking, but
someone will be willing to test that theory this time around. Bobby Blair says, the problem is every team being supplied with the same chassis, tire horsepower, everything is the same. There's little to no difference in the cars, and that leads to a worse product most of the time. Yeah, I mean, that broad sense, that's part of the issue for sure. Now, Sly Supersonic jumps in to say, I know I say it a lot, but the Gen 7 car sucks. Strong words from Sly Supersonic there. Ross Crash Dane says the next gen is a conspiracy by Big Stock Car to promote intermediate tracks.
Are we just adding big in front of everything?
It's an SMI conspiracy because we've established they own most of the mile and a halves. They're the ones.
Mile and a half globalists are out to get us in our short tracks.
Marcus Smith is really pulling the strings. A Prada says it's no coincidence that pre-07 Bristol was selling out months in advance despite college football season. If the track and racing is good, people will come. We have neither at current Bristol. Yeah, again, track, tire, car, all an issue.
I will be devil's advocate. NASCAR also had like twice to 3 times the audience at the time too. Like, I'm not saying that it's an excuse because they still can sell that many seats nowadays. We've seen it proven, but I will be devil's advocate a little there.
Yeah. Stephen Gibson says, I am brave enough to say it. Bristol should be one date and the track should be 36 degrees and banking again. Also, the car is 1,000% broken and needs to be rehauled entirely. Next Gen 2.0 coming eventually, maybe, possibly. Daniel Meredith Jr. says Dover is the best short track from the others. If we consider it a short track, technically speaking, it's borderline.
I consider it more of an intermediate personally.
It's hard to call that a short track.
Maybe that's the one that's getting the Atlanta treatment.
Oh, maybe. Oh gosh. Miles the Monsters got a little rebrand going on there. Michael Waltrip jumped into the chat earlier to say Danny Dye is the GOAT. Thank you for that, Mikey. Isaac V24 says, fun fact, Logano now has the worst average finish, 17.6 for a defending champion since Labonte, 20.6 in 2001. Hey, we knew if anyone was going to set that new record, it was going to be Joey Logano. It's very on brand for how last season ended. But yes, Joey Logano, very inconsistent.
That ending the last year, I don't know if I've said it before, but that actually had me looking in the mirror the next day like, is this what I want to do? Is this like what I'm cut out for? It had me like demoralized because I made a video the day before essentially calling the shot and saying, if this happens, it's going to be dogs and cats living together, whole world coming apart. That's exactly what happened.
Pandemonium, man.
Nope.
And not in a good way.
That is very much how it felt. I will give you that. Jam Plays Game says the Bristol Tire Solution run both races in January. Yeah. Steven Gibson says, don't forget, most trashed Bristol dirt. Now I see us begging for it back. We started showing up less and less to it. Maybe NASCAR shouldn't have effed over Tony Stewart. Eldora would be great right now. Yeah, maybe those fences can be figuratively mended sooner rather than later. Justin Drake says, anyone else see NHRA this weekend? Stewart won the Top Fuel Dragsters final. What can't he drive? Proud to see him doing so well, while fans echo his statements on why he lost interest in NASCAR. Yeah, he's done some candid interviews in the past few months, at least sharing his side of why he's became more and more disinterested in NASCAR. And he's vague about a lot of it, but it's just sensed a growing frustration with the direction of owning the teams and how hard it was to be competitive. Remember, Stuart Haas the last couple of years, no team was getting hit with more L2 and L3 penalties than Stuart Haas Racing. I don't think they ever quite bought into the next gen overhaul like other teams did. Could tell kind of from the beginning that was a point of contention there.
Didn't Briscoe get like a $250,000 penalty and he finished like 29th? That thing did not do anything for him, and they still paid dearly.
If you want to be really conspiratorial, watch Jeremy Mayfield's interview with Dale Jr. or even his interview with us and about like NASCAR leadership and talking to different people, and then look at Tony Stewart versus NASCAR and be like, yeah, that's kind of interesting. I don't know how true it is, but it's interesting.
Lawson Murphy says we have to have the horsepower at minimum 715, max 775. I don't think there should be a max. So let's not put an artificial cap on ourselves here. But yes, it'd be nice to get up over the 700 mark again. Not sure it would make a huge difference, but at this point, I can't imagine it would hurt. Jam Plays Game says I went to Spring Bristol 2024. Maybe I'm the key. Get back out there, Jam Plays Games, and bring the cold weather with you. You earlier referenced a conversation you had with Jeff Gluck, Jarrett. A Prada chimes in, says, to Gluck's point, NASCAR has been punishing greatness since 04. Since 04, at least 13 potential championship seasons have been removed from the history books. Tell that to another racing fan. I assume this is an anti-playoffs comment.
I don't know.
Misinterpreting.
I think it's, yeah. I mean, if you look at like who scored the most points, best average finish, like arguably or unarguably best overall season, then yes.
Yeah, they're saying, Gordon should have won in 07. It would have been
And
Edwards in 11.
14.
Yeah. That's fine. Bobby Blair, want to give a shout out to Briscoe, 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, last 4 races, 19 teams starting to show some good speed. Love seeing it as a Truex fan. Connor, what do you think of Briscoe and the 19 car? Are you a fan? Are you kind of just watching from afar, disinterested?
I like him. He's a good guy. I think he's a good racer. I think he's going to start coming into his own. It did scare the hell out of me when the first race James Small got that ginormous freaking penalty, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? He cannot do one thing." But
yeah,
they seem to be finding their groove, and hopefully he can get back to victory lane soon.
Yeah, absolutely. They definitely have picked up the pace the last few weeks. Austin09 says Chase Elliott fan, has the next gen car just made everything hard on him? I mean, he's still 5th in points. I hope he can still have multiple win seasons. Yeah, Elliott's still finishing great, pointing his way deep into the playoffs. He's just not winning races and leading laps like his teammates are. And I think that is a next gen adaptation thing. But he's young enough and just like coming into his prime. I think we would all hope he can make the adjustment still. Like Kyle Busch struggling to make the adjustment. I get it. Dude's like 40. Brad Keselowski struggling to make some of the adjustments. He's like 42, 41. Like I kind of get some of the older drivers maybe struggling to figure it out if it's not natural to them. But Chase is young enough. I hope they can click.
Well, we saw this last time NASCAR structurally changed the cars, because like we can talk generations, but a lot of times generations are just marketing ploys. Like the Gen 6 is just a nice glossed up COT. Granted, the aero changes are big, but like Gen 4 to COT, I mean, you look at guys like Jeff Gordon, Dale Jr., arguably Tony Stewart, though he was able to overcome a lot of it. Like a lot of guys who were good in the Gen 4 and excelled with that were not as good in the COT era. And now you're looking at guys that were pretty good in the Gen 6 era, not excelling in the next gen, like Chase Elliott. I mean, there could be a point to that. I mean, statistics bear this out each time there's a massive change. I mean, look at the Gen 3 to Gen 4 when there was a massive change, and you can kind of see a similar shift.
Yeah, also, it's interesting.
Sorry, I just pulled up this stat that Chase Elliott actually, despite not winning nearly as many races, he is well solidified with the best average
Mhm.
finish in the next gen car so far, like all 4 years.
Wow.
He's
I know-
good at being up front because he's a damn good driver. It's just the
Yep.
winning wise, it's that getting to
Mhm.
that next level has
And
been the issue.
he doesn't make mistakes, and Hendrick doesn't make a lot of mistakes. So like he cuts down on the DNFs. He's just 7th place every week. That's the
Yep.
great average finish. You're just not going to win races. He made the round of 8 though last year. He's still in fringe championship contention at this point. Retro Rich says, "What causes a curve down there?" Leave it at that.
Peyronie's disease.
Bobby Blair says about FS1, it's almost over. It's almost over. It's almost over. Bring on Dale Jr. and Amazon Prime. People who don't have Amazon Prime aren't probably looking forward to that, but the rest of us are. Oh gosh, just reset. Give me 1 sec. We're working our way through these. We do really appreciate all the super chats tonight. You guys have been extremely supportive all evening. Scrapyard says, I realized the other day that the Cup Series race at Texas falls on May 4th. I wonder if Ryan and Bubba will get up to any Star Wars shenanigans for that. That'd be a great time for Columbia to bring back the Star Wars scheme.
That'd be awesome.
505 Doom says NASCAR is no longer a working man sport, but it's now a racing league for spoiled brats and Nepo babies whose only life skills they have is to kiss, we'll say, cheeks.
The theme of today.
Strong comments there from 505 Doom. I mean, I think there's still a lot of room for the quote unquote working man in NASCAR. I mean, look at how Josh Berry has grinded his way to the Cup Series in recent years.
Ross Chastain too.
Chastain. I mean, I saw a video of him today. He's back on his watermelon farm this week. Yeah.
And to be fair to the Cup guys, it's hard for someone who's a pure Nepo baby to stay up there unless it's like the owner is grossly negligent in their team.
Yeah.
Richard Childress Racing and Austin Dillon, even before Austin Dillon was bad the last couple of years. But I mean, look at Ty Dillon. Like, he's shown the willingness to actually go out to other teams and not take the silver spoon, the dollar with that. So
he's grinded more than some. Yeah.
Lower series, it's easier for them to stay. Lower talent level, probably needed bar wise to be there. But I mean, Cup Series guys are like the Nepo babies are still pretty damn good.
Yeah, this was actually a topic of one of my next videos, so I won't get into it too much. But Dab for Dale on Twitter posted a whole nepotism chart, like with every driver, which I think is interesting. But I think the main thing I think about is like, yeah, there's a good amount of people who are like related to owners and deep pockets, but just a reminder that Richard Petty, son of Lee Petty, Dale Earnhardt, son of Ralph Earnhardt. It's just kind of
generational.
Yeah,
it's because it's hard to break in without knowing somebody, even if you don't have necessarily the funding. Like, it still helps to have those connections for sure when getting into those lower ARCA trucks type seats. Looking forward to that video though, Connor. Good little teaser for what I think will be really interesting. YKA says Bristol Dirt was a better TV experience or nah. I mean, I enjoyed watching them, but
I liked it.
The first year was a little.
Said this year. I started laughing.
I mean,
oh yeah.
Honestly, I don't know the TV experience. I was at every single dirt race at Bristol.
That's really
right.
Wow.
That's right. I remember that.
Could when 2021, when all that dust got kicked up, could you still see very well? Because that was
not really.
I was about to say that was a bit of a problem.
It was pretty horrible.
Yeah. 22 and 23, they found their groove, and I thought it was a good product. Zinthroth says, "Go 43 team. I wish Legacy was good. Eric Jones is the GOAT." Fire emoji, fire emoji, fire emoji.
Should have won that duel.
Yeah, I should have. There's they've been faster this year. John Hunter Nemechek's been around the top 20 in points. Jones hasn't quite been there, but I think they're trending the right direction. We'll see what the future holds with that whole third charter dispute. Brock Culpepper says Blaney will be the champion, matured and fast now. All right, Ryan Blaney been in the championship for the last couple of years. Not a bad pick. John Berg says this may be off topic, but in my home state of Iowa, legislation unanimously voted to protect tracks from nuisance lawsuits from new neighbors, protecting racing in the Hawkeye state. That's great news, I suppose.
And I can't remember which track it is, but Arkansas had a similar kind of case go through where like the locals wanted a track torn down, and because they've moved there next to it, and Mark Martin was big against it all. A lot of different people, and it got struck down like unanimously. So good stuff. Good
stuff here. That's great to hear from Iowa. Thanks for the comment, John. From Straight Street 6, do you guys think that Atlanta wears out? I saw this comment earlier we were talking about. when Atlanta wears out, it'll become less of a super speedway, more like a Charlotte mile and a half. And we talked about that in that moment a little bit. Yeah, it's wearing out surprisingly quickly. I think the real question will be is if NASCAR changes the rules package to accommodate. If they don't, then I think it could wear out into an interesting kind of mile and a half. But if they do choke the horsepower down even more, then is what it is, I suppose. The Racing Railfanner 93, 4 letters, 1 word, Kyle. Kyle, about, I assume they're saying like no Kyle. I forget what this was in reference to. Sorry, Racing Railfanner 2. But yeah, Kyle Larson didn't quite get the sweep this week, and assuming they're talking about Larson, could be talking about Busch.
Yeah,
anyway,
exactly.
Fred Dog 81. If you were a driver and NASCAR season would still only have 1 off week, would you keep it on Easter or choose another week to rest during the year? I know we've talked about
Easter's a good one.
Yeah, Easter's not bad, though we have talked in the past about how it's kind of a dead week for other sports too. And it's like, if other sports can play on Christmas or own Thanksgiving, maybe NASCAR could own Easter. But I also think
I also think that right after the Coke 600 would be a good one because it kind of gives like a halfway mark break.
that I could
And
agree
everyone's
with.
home too, so it'd be easy.
This week is the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs are both getting started here soon. So
Oh, good point. Good point. So you would be competing with that. I don't know if they always start on Easter, but you would be competing with that this time.
Easter's a moving thing. Is you can't do it on Easter because Easter is a moving holiday. It can be early March all the way down to late April.
That's
That's
pick
so
one
that's
day
so
to
weird
rise.
how it works like that.
Now I need to look.
Someone said we tried taking over Easter. Weren't the ratings on Easter pretty good for NASCAR?
I can pull it up right now for you.
I thought I remember that they were actually, it got kind of a decent boost being on Easter. I forget what race it was. Maybe
Bristol
Richmond. Oh, Bristol Dirt. Okay.
4 million flat, 3.45 when it was delayed late, and then Richmond even got 3.3 million.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like a Richmond race on Easter got good ratings.
The issues are this. I mean, like I'm looking forward to the next couple Easters. Next year's Easter is April 5th, March 28th the next year, then April 16th, April Fool's Day. It's generally going to be in April or late to mid-May, but it's weather. That's a difficult part of it too. Is like
true.
Yeah. Do you want to go to Bristol in especially if it's later in the evening or into the nighttime in like middle of March? Especially if it's into the nighttime. Doesn't sound fun.
They're gonna bring the rain tires again.
Yeah. Well, and if it's dirt, you just can't do it.
Let's grind through some more super chats here. Crash Travels USA says idea for random driver. Random driver appears as a guest with black screen and voice distortion. Jarrett asks them questions instead of giving hints, and Eric and Danny can burn guesses to ask the driver something. We should try that. We should try that one week if we can get somebody.
Awesome. Do like 20 questions or something like that.
Well, it's like those. Have you seen those shorts that are like, who's the NBA player? And there's just like a line of 5 dudes with a bag over their head, and you have to ask them questions, stuff.
I love that idea.
We're expanding here.
I'd probably have to know just to set it up. But
yeah,
especially if we had guests on, like the rest of you guys wouldn't have to.
The hard part would be getting a driver like willing to do that, I guess.
I think we could probably find a few to pull strings with. The problem is the ones we can pull strings with, we all know.
It'd be like, okay, Vargas, we know it's you. You can stop now.
It's not me. I swear.
Logs off. Palm Tree 82 diecast question, since we don't show them anymore. What's a diecast that didn't get produced that you guys wish did? My most recent one is McDowell Supremacy A&W car from 2019.
That's a good one.
Connor, what was that reaction? I saw it
yesterday. I looked it up. I can't believe Martin Truex's auto owners from last year. Beautiful car. That was the one that I wanted to buy, and they are freaking producing it. It's so sad.
That's the thing, though. I've been so turned off because of how bad they are now that I don't know the most recent ones to think of until someone brings them up.
Yeah, like I don't think there's like a die cast out there that I'm like dying to have that like, hasn't been made. Maybe there is one out there that like I just haven't done the research that hasn't been made, but I can't like I don't pre-order a lot of modern day die casts anymore or buy them when they come out or anything like that. So like when stuff gets DNP'd, it's like, Sucks,
Well,
but like I wasn't gonna buy it. So
the list is so long now that like I don't even
Yeah.
bother with it because I'm just gonna keep the money in my account for other things. Like if I find it, and the thing is like diecast made today are not gonna appreciate in value the way that older ones have. I don't think. I think they're just gonna get like more devalued over time. So I might as well wait until it costs $20 in a vendor tent in 5 years.
Okay, I found which one it was for me. I wanted to get my wife because her and her mom, before the whole country even knew about her, became fans of Caitlin Clark and the Iowa Hawkeyes, and I wanted to get her the 164 version of Corey LaJoie's Iowa Hawkeyes car, but that one DNP'd. I think they made the 124s, but we were not going to pay that much money for that car. We just wanted to get the small version of it, and that's one I wish got made.
That's a good pick. All right. Kelly says, y'all think we'll see another priest flip Sunday at Talladega? Let's hope not. Come on. Let's not wish that
Possible.
evil on the 60 car. Come on now. Cardinal says Casey Kane dominance will bore fans on Saturday. We'll see about that. Justin Drake says they copy and pasted the Barry Texas A&M scheme and added a 1 behind the 4 for Cole Custer. Absolute cheeks from the designer. It's a solid looking car though. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean,
It's a nice Josh Berry throwback. I love it.
I'm realizing that prediction I made a couple weeks back that they'd convince Kevin Harvick to say skibbity on a broadcast again should have been cheeks.
Cheeks.
Yeah.
Napa Racing fan says, I want to see Casey Kane win in a photo finish. For Adam Alexander to call another photo finish. Kane wins it, and there's a huge crash behind them. One truck spins. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. That'd be fun.
Well, he's forgetting the other Rockingham photo finish that Kane had.
that he lost.
Where's Matt Kenseth? Let's get him back.
Oh my god, I would love to see Kenseth race this weekend.
Yeah.
Sad times. Chase fan 9 says watching Elliott fail to dominate win races like Larson and Byron makes me sad as an Elliott fan. Have we seen the best of Elliott? We answered kind of that a little while earlier. I think there's still plenty of reasons to be optimistic. He's a good driver. The first year of the next gen, he won 5 races. I just think I don't know what it is, if they've lost the handle, if they need a crew chief or an engineering change.
He's 29. He's got time. Even if it's a slump, he has plenty of time to dig himself out.
Yeah, and we saw he loves that short track tire combo. He dominated at Bowman Gray just a few weeks ago, so he's still got it in him. Daniel Meredith says the ugly car tomorrow is better than the next gen car. I mean, might race better towards the end of the Gen 5. It raced pretty good. It looked ugly, but it raced pretty good.
I thought the 11, 12 ones looked really good. I've never been a fan of the 07 to 2009. The 2010 ones are just odd.
I didn't really like how any of them looked, to be honest, but they did race better towards the
my
end.
nose scrunch up.
We have a COT truther here.
Bluegrass Boy 2448 asks, should we do what Junior suggested and pave Bristol with asphalt again? I did not hear Junior say that, but I think he said that before.
He said that for years.
So I'm open to it. I don't know if it's the right answer, but I'm open to something.
Hey, you ever notice that the things Dale Jr. says to radically change tracks are the things that usually are tracks he's like, we should be at less road courses, or I don't like concrete at racetracks. And you ever notice outside of 1 or 2 races, Junior generally was not very good at those tracks. Like he had a good average finish at Bristol, but he generally always finished like in that 8th to 13th range. He wasn't really all that great at Dover, and he wasn't a good road course racer till like right at the end of his career. And those are all the tracks he wants off the schedule or changed. Just saying, as a Dale Jr. fan, I'm calling him there.
He's a little biased, just a little bit.
Justin Drake, another super chat, very generous tonight. Justin says, Logano really be listening to his theme song this year. Hiya, kids. It's a me, Mickey Mouse. Haha. Miska, Muska, Mickey Mouse. That's how they spelled it.
Oh,
boy. Shout out to Shake and Bake Sports in the chat. I believe that is the new YouTube channel that features Jesse Love, Connor Zilich, and others. I believe they just posted one of their first videos today or yesterday, sometime this week. They left a super chat and then also said NASCAR YouTube Mount Rushmore and saluted us with 3 saluting emojis. So I don't know who's running that account, but definitely some fun content over there being produced by some up and coming NASCAR star drivers. So
I'm gonna go subscribe.
Yeah, be sure to check out Shake and Bake Sports. Give them a shout out. Appreciate them tuning in tonight and supporting NWP. Very kind comment there. Mount Rushmore, gosh, don't think I would look good in.
I feel like we're
snow.
missing somebody. Just you know,
yeah, we should.
little-
Who is?
little
Oh my
guy.
god, we should. we should all one day. I don't want to do it on the spot because we'll hurt feelings because we're friends with a lot of these guys. But we should all come up with our actual YouTube Mount Rushmores, NASCAR YouTube Mount Rushmores, I should say, because there's some great.
Wow,
Going
there's
back
so
15
many,
years, there's some great
that's what I'm
ones.
saying. There's so many eras now.
And we've
like,
had almost all of them on our show at some point or another, which is really crazy.
I'm putting Brown Door 1996 on mine with the
There was the
NASCAR
news.
stop motion that he made years ago.
Oh yeah, there was the news that NASCAR Nixon's channel got like wiped or recently. I know a lot of people are sad about that.
I don't know much about the person behind the channel, other than a few years ago, didn't care for me. Oh well, not gonna make everyone happy, but still, always got to respect how long he'd been doing it. I guess could just be one of those things that over time, just no longer his thing. Just decided to walk away from it.
Yeah,
he was a
I don't know.
cornerstone.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, when I heard it was Aflac Cup Series doing the stop motions was kind of the leader of that zone, and he's still to this. I don't know if it's to this day, but recently is still putting stuff
Pretty
out.
damn close. I've thought about trying to start like a website of just statistics and data, like a racing reference for just the Aflac Cup Series, because you genuinely could. There's so many.
Yeah, at this point, you could 100%.
Well, and the thing is, like, Gino has a full-time job, wife,
He's
and
got
kid.
a family, kids.
Like,
it's crazy to see how he's grown.
Yeah. The fact that he's still doing anything with how, like, because he's a full-time teacher.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then he also has a wife and kids. We saw him at Road America a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that was cool. Mm-hmm.
And it's like more power to him. That like he kicks ass. I know it's like, like he doesn't do it as often as he used to, but like as someone who's staring in the face having a kid soon, I'm like, damn, the drive, man, good on.
Yeah, I mean, we're 60 years old and you two in internet years, so it's like, I mean, how does anybody do this any longer? Anyway, great point though. Yeah, anyway, that's kind of fun to think about it. Because we have had the great pleasure of talking to and even befriending so many great NASCAR independent content creators over the years. Crazy to see how the space continues to evolve. We've got just a few more super chats, folks. Really appreciate you sticking with us. I know it's a long night. Justin Drake again says, difference is Petty and Earnhardt have skill. Austin Dillon, I don't know why Austin Dillon's catching a stray here, is a 10 to 11 year vet purely because pop, proud of you, my favorite grandson. That's what they wrote in quotes.
I think it was in response to the, Ralph and Dale, Lee and Richard. But at the same time, it's like we also mentioned there are like one, you weren't comparing them to an Austin Dillon necessarily, like, but two, like there are still some guys that are outliers.
I like Napa Racing Fan points out Dillon is a Truck and Xfinity champion.
True.
So,
Oh yeah.
Immortal says, had fun at the Long Beach Grand Prix. Looked like a good time. Saw that Ben Kennedy was there as well. Not sure what that was about. Mm-hmm. No,
Scoping?
just scouting it out, saying, "Oh, I'm going to sit here in a couple of years." No.
Back up for the San Diego race in case that falls through.
Ryan says, I predict Chase Elliott wins the 600. Not a bad prediction. Hendrick looked fast there a year ago before the rain came. Larso, can you explain how The Rock got funded to rebuild? I don't even know at this point. I know it's owned by a private company, and then they got
The Rock is a
$2 million.
wealthy actor / wrestler, and he's rebuilt himself over time through many various ways due to his funding from various performances.
I know they got some COVID infrastructure money, but I don't know how much it was.
Danny, what do you smell?
I smell that it is WrestleMania weekend, and I never know what The Rock will be doing.
Well, I think, a lot of it was that North Carolina fund plus I think there was also some local, like not just the government side of it, but like local support, independent people. And then I believe Bob Sargent from Track Enterprises now, and Track Enterprises is also working on that. They were the ones that did the Milwaukee deal for a little while. They also run the Nashville Fairgrounds, a lot of stuff with like the Jegs series. So there was a lot of parties that came into making this work. Plus, of course, NASCAR putting eggs in the basket here. I mean, this is a huge effort. Like, just not to kind of get more serious on it, but like, I really hope fans show up. I wish I could. I know Brock Beard's driving across the country to go there.
He drove all the way from California to Rockingham this week.
Dude,
dude's a maniac, but
That's another one.
I respect the passion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
put Brock
really
Beard
hope,
on the Mount Rushmore somewhere.
Oh, for real.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Like I hope this weekend works out. I hope he kicks ass with everything he does. Like it. This weekend to me, I hope fans realize how big a deal this is. I really
I'm shocked
do.
it's happened. I visited the track 2 years ago when they had just installed some safer barriers and just repaved it. And I'll be honest, I think I told y'all afterwards, I'm like, I don't think this place is getting a truck or Xfinity race anytime
That's
soon.
right,
I was
yeah.
wrong. I was wrong. I mean, my impression was I don't think these people are serious about racing. It sounds like they're more interested in like anything else they can do with the facility. But lo and behold, follow the money. They knew that NASCAR would be an opportunity, and
Hey,
here they are.
Before you ask Bob, it does have lights.
Yes, I believe it does. Yeah. And oh my God, when I was there 2 years ago, I think I've said this before, I went into the Cup garages and they'd installed these like crazy lighting systems and like lasers and stuff for a music festival they were having. And that's what that's what I'm saying. That was the thing they were most excited to show me and tell me about was their laser light show Cup Series garage package. And I was like, okay, this is cool. I don't know that I believe you guys are interested in racing, but all right, here we go. We got a race. Nap Racing fan says we're rooting for The Rock. How soon can Cup return? I think Ben Kennedy reportedly said maybe a few years if all goes well. It's probably going to be at least a couple years. Forecast says I love the channels. I literally watched Connors. Literally watched.
Thank you
Ellie
for
Productions.
literally watching my channel.
That's awesome. Straight Street 6 again. Bold prediction: Elliott takes over the 22 when Joey retires. That's okay. We're gonna move on to the next one. That's final super chat of the night. Goodness gracious, this has been a haul. Brock, not Brock Beard, new Brock here says, I'm from Australia, and you guys are the reason I'm into NASCAR. Another saluting emoji.
Thank you.
Very respectful.
Salute
I
you
appreciate
too,
that.
man.
And then
That's great to
actually
hear.
I saw who was it? It was our friends that they super chatted earlier. What's the name of the channel? Shake and Bake Sports. They said we are not from Australia, but Aussie.
Love it. Fun stuff. Yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you
I
for
like
the
to
super
think that's
chat.
Connor Zilich himself just writing that stuff.
It might be. Someone said earlier, Daniel Dye also involved in that channel. Yes, of course. Can't forget Danny Dye. My mistake. My bad.
I have no clue why KFB Fanatic says this. Someone make Danny salute, so I will salute.
There we go. We should probably like remove
For
our
those
I feel like
about to rock, we salute you.
this has been a whale of a show, considering it's technically leading into an off week, but we really appreciate you all sticking with us. Had a ton of fun. Very generous of y'all to send in the super chats you did. We do truly appreciate the support each and every week, all year long. Connor, Ellie Productions, stuck with us here for nearly 3 freaking hours.
Hey, I just did a 5.5 hour stream. I'm used to it at this
Oh
point.
my
It's
gosh.
kind of what I
Yeah.
do now.
I'm not used to it. Again, 60 years old in internet years, so I'm out of my prime here. But yeah, you teased earlier some upcoming projects. I don't expect you to tell us exactly what you're working on, but for fans who maybe, I'm sure most of y'all here have to be subscribed. If you're not, click the link in the description below. But for fans of your channel, what can they look forward to in the coming weeks?
Well, this week we're doing a video about Bristol, just because I just went there and I figured I might as well. And then the next video after that will be something sponsored by Manscaped. So buy their lawnmower Ultra, hell yeah, and for Testicular Cancer Awareness Month. And then also subscribe to Cutthroat Sports. I just started a new channel that's going to be dedicated to like sports stuff, mainly Nuggets and Avalanche right now, but I'll do stuff about basketball, hockey, football, all that stuff.
All right, so I'm wearing the Rockets hat. So
Yep.
Nuggets obviously have won a championship recently, been really good in a while, for a while now. Who realistically are your Western and Eastern Conference final picks?
Probably Boston and OKC. I think they look
Okay,
strong. And
that's
OKC,
what I'm feeling.
yeah,
I'm feeling the same way here. Yeah. Good stuff though. That's exciting. So Cutthroat Sports, you said that's the new channel. All right. I do not
green
have
channel with a fish on it. You can't miss it.
Gotcha. I think I saw that. I think I saw you tweeted it or somewhere. I did not link it in the description. I apologize for that. But yes, be sure to check that out as well, folks. Cutthroat Sports. Appreciate you hanging out with us tonight, Connor. Of course, Danny, Jarrett, their channels also down in the description as well. Jarrett streams after every race. You're streaming after both Rockingham races, I assume, correct?
Yes.
Sweet.
Yeah, this will be not the last weekend, but one of the last weekends in this current studio because I'll be moving.
That's right.
I'm going to start the moving process
Have fun.
the day after next week's show. So,
Oh,
Where are you
wow.
moving?
All right.
What's your address? What's your exact coordinates?
What are the last 4 digits of your social?
234 up yours.
Cheeks.
Cheeks.
But by the way, Jarrett, just enjoy your first Sunday off in a while.
Yes, this will be so it's funny. So this will be the last Sunday off until June. And so this will be, oh my God. Holy crap. I just thought of something. This is gonna be my last Sunday off before I'm a dad.
Wow.
Holy
Enjoy it.
crap.
Have a couple of beers.
Enjoy it.
Oh,
Stay up
I'm
late.
gonna have well. So my mom and grandma are gonna be in town, and we're doing stuff with Riss. So I probably shouldn't have too many beers, and I shouldn't be hungover the next day either. So I'll drink responsibly.
Have a nice, relaxing Sunday afternoon. Everyone watching, if you celebrate at least, have a wonderful Easter weekend. We will talk to you again next week. We'll be on the Icebergs channel, April 23rd, 8 o'clock Eastern time. The always very polite and well-behaved John Ramos will be joining us. We will get you ready for what is it, 28 straight weekends of Cup Series racing. We will get you ready and prepared. Thank you for being on this journey with us, folks. We'll talk to you again next week. Enjoy Rockingham. Happy Easter. Have a great night, folks.
Started off right, pal. Right on, come on.
Get outside.
Three wide.
Unbelievable.
Great playing. We're going. I like the aggression. We probably dropped a great car.
You can go tell all those guys up there they can suck it.
What we're about to do is not a good idea.
All good. What is he doing?
You gotta be kidding me.
Half the pack is flying apart.
It's so nice to
See you at the line.
Oh, pack of cars come piling in as well.
Jump. Coming white. Hello. Come back, caught him.
That was incredible.